Okay.
What's happening?
What's up, people? How you doing? We're not typically live today, so this is a different stream. Okay, and let's just at the forefront, firstly, say hello. What's up, Scary? What's up, Brian? What's up, David? We see you guys in the chat. Let us know who's hanging out with us here on a Sunday night. It's a Monday morning for us, Sunday night for you. So why are we live? Okay, so we are live because we are going to be looking at some of your Dynasty teams today and trying to give advice.
That's right.
Giving a pulse of your team, directions we would go, maybe a couple moves that we would make. We are breaking down, see all you guys, what's up? Breaking down some of your Dynasty teams. Thanks for the sub, the Lawn Beast. So just be aware, the people's teams that we are grading are the people who have signed up to the Mother Flocker tier over on flockfantasy.com. So
Correct.
If you wanted to have your team graded, the goal tonight is to get through all the ones that are currently in there. We did a video before, but we want to see how the live stream goes. We're excited about this format. But if you want your team to be graded, use our promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off at flockfantasy.com. It is in the pinned comment. The link to sign up, also it's in the description. And then when you sign up to the Mother Flocker tier with our code, then you get one of your teams graded. Not only that, you get everyone's articles on the site, everyone's rankings, bonus content, streams, and that nature. So why don't we go ahead and look at the first team, which is ICampHards. If you guys have been on our stream in the last week or so, you would definitely know ICampHards, because he's given he's the Oprah of the stream. So
he's doing it all over there.
Yeah, and let's just quickly get on the same page just for everyone, just so we know what's going on. This is going to be much more Badake and I breaking down a team, and maybe replying to a couple people in the comments. We definitely still want to interact, but if you have specific advice, unless it's a super chat, I'm just going to be honest with you, it's probably not going to be answered today. We're solely focusing on trying to help those people's teams and looking at those people's teams who have signed up through flockfantasy.com.
That's right.
So just keep that in mind. Just want to be transparent. You know, this is just a little bit of a different stream. It's way more relaxed. This is a way chill stream. So just, you know, if you want to hang back, talk some Dynasty, help some teams out, then that's what we're doing today. And our mock drafts will be back tomorrow. We'll have 4 this week again.
One thing maybe we should also clarify is we're going to be grading the teams that have been submitted on the roster submissions tab today. But if there's a new team that's going, which I doubt, but if you do sign up, you know, I don't know how fast the turnaround time.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to happen today, but next week
your team to be graded today. So if you do sign up, we appreciate you, but expect your team to be graded for the next one, because we do have a couple teams tonight. And then same time next week, Sunday over there, Sunday 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Is it 8 p.m. right now for you guys?
I'm pretty sure it's 8 p.m.
Yeah, I think it is right now over there.
We live in Australia, if you guys haven't seen, if you're new here.
But
both American.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So why don't we go ahead and let's look at this team. This is what my Discord currently looks like. And for those of you who do use our promo code LAND, and if you choose the Mother Flocker tier, there's 3 tabs that you're going to unlock that only we offer with our code. One is the Dynasty Trades text channel, okay? This is where all of our trades we look at for our weekly trade show. It's only those people who are Mother Flockers that we look at their trades each week. You got the fantasy hotline set up. Okay, so we can set you up and send you a message in the DMs, and you get a roster submissions. So here's where we currently are. Let's go all the way up to the top. We graded 3 teams last week. We're going to try and get through all of your teams tonight. We'll see how we go, but I think we can do it.
See how we go. I think we should go. We definitely could.
So ICampHards is the first team that we're going to be looking at here. And let's go ahead and get rid of some of these little messages here. Make it look a little cleaner. Okay. So I camp hard. The context of his team, it's a 10-team full PPR Superflex league. The picks I have are 101, 103, 201, and 210. I'm weak at tight end, running back, and only have 2 viable quarterbacks. The pick I'm most torn with is the 103. Do I add JSN or do I take CJ Bryce, whichever falls to that spot? I'm not really in either quarterback camp, so I don't have a preference between the two. And let me just say as well, if you guys do end up submitting your teams here, please, please, please add your sleeper ID. You can see Brock did that. Please add your sleeper ID. Also, if you're in a My Fantasy League, you can add your My Fantasy League ID. That just is going to make it easier for us to look at your entire league. But let's have a look at his team
so far.
Pretty big starting rosters here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess that's actually standard.
I mean, 3 wide receivers, 2 flex.
Yeah, that's standard. My bad.
Standard. Yeah.
But a pretty good starting lineup here. I mean, you could definitely improve your flex spots, no doubt. Darnell Mooney and John Mechie, not someone that you want to rely on right now on a weekly basis. But John Mechie is someone that I've brought as a buy low before, and if he's healthy, I think he's going to have a pretty good season. Let's take a look at this bench here. Malik Willis, A.J. Dillon, Elijah Mitchell, Chuba Hubbard, Pierre Strong, Nico Collins, Joshua Palmer, Tyquan Thornton, Rashid Shaheed. I'm really excited for you guys to see the video that we release tomorrow because I talk about him. Yep. Dawson Knox, Isaiah Likely. I don't think it's a tight end premium league. He did not say tight end premium.
He didn't. No, not tight end premium.
So we have the 101, 103, 201.
101.
Let's just look at the quarterback position first, Badake.
And that's exactly where I want to start.
Yeah.
It is pretty good. Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson. You have to remember that Kyler Murray is probably going to miss the first half of the season. And you do have Malik, but is he really going to start? What's going to happen? I would say first move I would do, pick up Colt McCoy if he's available. If he's not, then maybe you ride without Kyler Murray for the first half of the season, or you draft one of those quarterbacks at the 103 and sell Kyler Murray. I'm really happy to do that. Personally, I know maybe you would say differently, but you're also selling Kyler Murray at his lowest point, unfortunately.
I think that's where I have the issue with it is as someone who has Kyler Murray in leagues, people aren't paying a premium anymore. So I feel good about how he will recover from that injury and his age and the commitment from the team. So I'm hesitant to sell him, but I get where you're coming from. What I will say is the questions were mainly with this team. First of all, running backs, Bijan Robinson is absolutely going to transform this running back room.
Yeah, Bijan and Travis Etienne there.
That's a really good combination.
That's easy.
Bijan, Travis, James Cook. Hopefully they don't draft anyone after signing Damian Harris. But then you've got A.J. Dillon, Elijah Mitchell. Like, this is a decent running back room for a league where you only have to start 2 running backs, which is pretty standard. But I'm pretty happy after you add Bijan to that room to kind of ride that out for this year. I will say at the 201, that's a really hot spot for a running back. So I'm not opposed as well if a Sean Tucker is there and he gets good draft capital, Zach Evans, Kendre Miller, Tajay Spears, like whoever gets that second round capital.
I would also say, like, for in that position, you get Bijan, and maybe if you're okay doing that, maybe trade back from the 103 if you don't want to go in that quarterback route, and then get a JSN. Can you move back to the 106 to the 105? Maybe find a quarterback needy team, and this is where your sleeper ID will really come handy, right? Because we can look at teams that need a quarterback. So just keep that in mind. But move back from the 103 to get a JSN, to get a Gibbs, to get whoever you want to get there if you're not going to invest in the quarterback room. Yeah. So that's
I'm happy to trade back. I will say with Kyler Murray's injury, it's not like awful to add a good quarterback to this room,
exactly.
So
and wait until Kyler gets healthy and then sell them high at a different
unless
time.
You get a great offer to move back, I'm gonna stick and I'm gonna pick, and then after the draft, if it's CJ or it's Bryce or whatever, then you have flexibility in this super flex format. Quarterbacks will still be very valuable. Okay, so the wide receiver room: CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Jerry Jeudy, Darnell Mooney, John Mechie. It's top heavy, with the potential for some of these guys to develop really nice roles. I've talked about Rashid Shaheed in a video that's coming out tomorrow, so I don't want to give too many spoilers, but I like him as a whole. Tyquan Thornton, definitely disappointed year 1. Josh Palmer could develop. I mean, you know,
Yeah, that's the guy that I spoke about in one of my videos, saying that like, and probably where you're gonna go. You know, definitely could develop if they don't draft a wide receiver with
hmm
Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, or Mike Williams if he needs to get healthy.
yeah,
If they need to stay healthy. If not, we saw him kind of progress and take a little bit of a next step last year. So can he take that step again
yeah,
this year?
agreed. Definitely a hold. Definitely a hold. Nico Collins is interesting. Like, I would be willing to move him because I think there is some hype in
Nico right
Nico
now with
Collins land. But do you think that's true? I just feel like they haven't added much. Brandon Cooks is gone.
I think
I'm just thinking of like names that you could potentially pivot to. Let me just think about that for a second. But
the
I know
problem is,
you're pro Nico.
yeah, I am pro Nico. Also, the problem is that we keep saying this. The Texans needs to draft a wide receiver at the 12, at the 12th pick with their quarterback. They need that, right? So I can see Nico Collins still staying where he's at right now. If they get a Jason, if they get a Quentin, or whoever they want to invest in, he's still going to be the wide receiver. I would say.
Why don't I
3
just throw
on
some
that
names
team.
out then that that I'd be happy to pivot to. Just gonna throw some names, and some of these might take extra capital, but like Alec Pierce and Sky Moore are really interesting to me there because according to the community, they're not that far off in rankings. You're definitely gonna have to include like a later round pick, and maybe if the 210's all you have, then that's too much to pay to move them. But just some names that I would say I would explore. What about if you what about pick wise, Badake? If you're moving Nico Collins, would you be happy with like the 304 or so? I would prefer the 304 personally over Nico Collins.
I think it depends on if they actually draft that. If they draft that wide receiver, like what if that wide receiver they draft is in the 3rd round?
Yeah.
And it's not probably the wide receiver we expect, right? So
yeah, I'd be willing to move him for an early to mid 3rd. There's a lot of wide receivers that I'd rather take a shot on in that area who are currently going there, like Xavier Hutchinson, Parker Washington, Bryce Ford Wheaton, some of those names. Yeah. So wide receiver room, definitely top heavy. And I can see why he would want to trade that or like draft JSN. Like we said, try and move back. If you can't, stick and pick, because right now, if you look at Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, they are more valuable in a startup than any of these wide receivers are. So you should have more hold in the market. And maybe you can, it just gives you flexibility to draft a quarterback. You've got Kyler, Deshaun. If you want to move Kyler and his value raises, you know, this year, or if you want to move Bryce or CJ, you have that flexibility to make that move. So I would definitely still go quarterback. Tight end room, we've got Cole Kmet.
Cole and Dawson Knox, Isaiah Likely.
Okay. There's enough there.
Look,
this isn't a superstar tight end room at all, but
no, there is. But I would say the 201, if the running backs, I mean, getting Bijan, you can get some more depth at the running back room with the 201, but also getting a Michael Mayer there, if he does fall to the 201, that could be very interesting.
Sure. Depends on draft capital, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All depends on draft capital at the tight end position. And even at the 210, you know, where does Luke Musgrave?
That's what I was gonna say.
You know, all those other guys land, and if they do land at a good spot and fall to the 210, I think that can be really exciting. Sam Laporta, you know, there's so many opportunities for a tight end to land at a good spot where they are going to fall to the late 2nd, early 3rd. That's a good opportunity.
I would much rather go tight end at the 210 and try and grab a running back, impact running back at the 2-1 with the way this running back room looks.
Yeah, I definitely.
But pretty good team overall. Pretty good team. I think the main after you add Bijan, really you're just trying to improve these flex positions. And with quarterback at 103, if you draft a quarterback there or move back, you're going to have ammunition to improve that. So good team, ICampHard. Okay, on to Brock, and we have a sleeper ID, so this is going to be very, very helpful. Why don't we go ahead and transition over to keep trade cut now. So this will be much easier and probably better for everyone to see us.
Well, it's funny that Brock is, you'll see where he's at with his team.
Okay, let's have a look. We'll enter his sleeper ID here. And let's have a look at this squad.
He's the first team, by the way.
He's CD's nuts. Okay.
Yeah.
So this might be a quick one, Brock. Let me just look at the context real quick. Brock's context says, thinking about Jason at 102 and hoping to move up from 107, 108 into the 105 and prep to take Sharbs or whatever wide receiver falls. Looking for some general thoughts about the roster and the direction. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is one quarterback. And looking at the context, it is one quarterback.
One quarterback, start 8-12 team. I don't know if you see on the top there.
Start 8 as well. So the starting rosters aren't very big.
Yeah, it's pretty small here. So
and let's double check the picks. He's got 102, 107, 108, 202. Okay, so he's definitely got some a lot of movement here. I mean, you're dominating. Let's just say that you are dominating. Yeah. Quarterback, you need to do absolutely nothing.
No, yeah, I would agree there. I mean, the thing is, like, the team is stacked. Amon-Ra. Well, I mean, you can definitely.
I just think there's probably no need to move these guys in a one quarterback. You're not going to get enough value to move them.
Yeah, that's true. In one quarterback for sure. So quarterback is fine. I guess running back here, Javonte, AJ Dillon, Rashad White, Khalil Herbert. I mean, this is probably where you can improve. The 102 here. Obviously, you don't have the 101.
And that's what I was going to say. With a team like this that is so stacked and it's start 8, honestly, I would be super willing to overpay for the 101 in this format. So, as we mentioned, Brock has the 102, the 107, the 108, the 202. I am super, super willing to overpay for Bijan because, again, you only have to start 8 players. Your team is stacked. You got TJ Hawkinson at tight end. You got CD, Amon-Ra, Deontay. And again, you only start 8 players. So ideally, you're starting Justin Fields 1, Javonte, Rashad White 2. That's 3 actually. CD Lamb is 4. Amon-Ra is 5. Right. Deontay is 6. And then you're figuring out your flex at Bateman. And then TJ Hawkinson makes it 8. You have all this draft capital. My biggest advice to this team would to be overpay for the 101.
So Brock does have our fantasy hotline. Obviously, when you sign up, go to the Mother Flocker tier, you get the fantasy hotline and you can get your team graded. He did send me a trade over there saying he was sending away the 102, the 107 to acquire the 101. And I did say he should do that.
No doubt in my mind you say yes to that.
Yeah, and I did say yes, you should definitely do that because then that improves your roster immediately.
Did you see the team name that he was doing that with?
It was with Big Wheelie 7.
Big Wheelie 7. I don't see Big Wheelie here.
The Big Wheelie 7 has clearly the 101. So if you can find the 101.
Well, it doesn't show exact picks. Okay. Can you tell me a quarterback that he has?
He doesn't. It's just a screenshot of the trade.
Okay, fair. Well, look, I think you and I would be on the same page in saying like that's a smash accept right now. I was going to go further than just the 102 and the 107. In a one quarterback for Bijan Robinson, I would pay even more to make that happen because all of a sudden your starting roster goes Justin Fields, Bijan Robinson, Javonte Williams, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's 5. Deontay Johnson makes it 6. You can flex Khalil Herbert or Rashad White. You can flex AJ Dillon on the right week. You can flex Darnell Mooney, Bateman, Sky Moore, and then TJ Hawkinson is your tight end. So that is the no-brainer for me. When you look at a team like this that is so stacked, it's okay, how do we win the championship with this team? And I'm absolutely making that deal personally.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, once again, really good team. Continue to build out here and do your thing.
And look at the draft capital. I mean, you're going to dominate this league for a long time.
I mean, he won last year. Clearly, he's first, right? If you're first here, that means you won last year.
Well, this is just power rankings, so we don't know who won.
Okay, never mind.
But so he has 3 firsts this year. He has 2 firsts in the next year. And he's got a bunch of seconds. Oh, yeah, this guy's going to dominate for a long time. Biggest piece of advice I could give, again, make that deal for Bijan Robinson. And if you need to overpay, then I'd be willing to overpay. Just another idea here, Badake, because I'm happy with CD, Amon-Ra, and I'm wondering just like another move we could make to go even harder on this this wide receiver room. I'm wondering.
Be clear, it's
yeah.
one flex, right? Start 8 is a one flex.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No, start 8 would be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and then I think 2 flexes.
2 flexes. Okay.
Remember, it's 1 quarterback.
Quarterback, 2 running backs.
So
2 wide
I'm gonna throw out an idea here, and again, guys, please keep in mind that keep trade cut is not perfect. Okay, this is just a starting point. You should have multiple negotiations in most trades that you make, but I just want to give you a starting point. He said he was going to use the 107 in that trade.
Yeah, there was the 102 and the 107 to get the 101 there.
And remind me, he does also have the 109.
He has the 108.
The 108
as well.
108 and the 202.
202, correct.
Okay, so 108 and the 202. I'm just trying to think, if we add the 108 here, if we add the 202, like I want to upgrade big time because of the amount of capital that we have. Ideally, I want quality over quantity in this format. Who has like AJ Brown in this league? I'm just looking at some of these teams. Who's a team that needs help and has a really good wide receiver room? Debo. No, I don't really want to do that for Debo. Devontae Adams. No. Oh, this could work. B God.
B God. Okay.
B God. Honestly, though, B God's team is way better than what Keep Trade Cut is saying. But I wonder if we can send. Maybe he likes this class. Again, just an idea, just something that you could explore. Could you get this deal done for AJ Brown? You are overpaying, but I'd be willing to overpay. Again, quality over quantity. I'm overpaying for Bijan. That's fine. Look at my team. I'm overpaying for AJ Brown. That's fine. Look at my team. Another idea. Let's look at some of these teams that are at the bottom here. How do you feel about getting Devontae Adams on this team?
I'm okay with that.
I wonder what it would cost. I would do that same deal for Olave, by the way.
Yeah, I would. I probably wouldn't want a Devontae Adams. I'd probably want a younger receiver still.
You actually probably wouldn't have to add in that 202. Deontay Johnson in the 108 for Chris Olave. And again, just a starting point. Something that you could try with Christian Mingle here, who's kind of middle of the pack.
Yeah, agreed. I see that there.
And then it's probably not going to happen with Team 5. It looks like he's got Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. He probably wants to keep that. Honestly, Team 5 is much better than this is saying. But anyway, so those would be the main ideas I would suggest here. Badake is in this format. You want quality over quantity.
Yeah, I'll be happy with that. Just to give you another reference as well, and then we can move on to the next team. Brock also sent another trade idea where he was giving up his 108 and his 202 for the 106 and a couple other random picks, like a second in 2024 and the 406.
Sorry, say that again. I'm so sorry.
In his fantasy hotline. All right. So Brock is giving up the 108 and the 202, and he's receiving the 106, a 24 second, and the 406 was another trade that he was asking in his hotline.
406 doesn't matter as much to me, but
yeah, and my response there, and I'm pretty sure he's probably read out. I was like, I'm happy with that trade, especially with the context, because he's probably looking for wide receiver depth, right? Is that a Quinton? Is that a Jordan Addison that falls there? Is that a Zay Flowers? And he goes to a good team. Just all depends. So
yeah. Cool little feature here, by the way. We can look at starters only. We can look at draft picks.
Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately, it still doesn't say like where it is, which is annoying.
You can't see draft picks. Okay. Yeah. I can. If you hover, yeah, it doesn't say. I'm gonna say if you hover over it, but no, it doesn't. Never mind.
Yeah. But anyway, so honestly, CD, like, wish we could give you more advice, but you're killing it. The one thing again that we would suggest: go all in for Bijan. I don't care. I'd be willing to overpay. And then go all in for like a wide receiver 3. If that's AJ Brown, if that's Chris Olave, if that's Garrett Wilson, if that's honestly, like T. Higgins, I'd be willing to overpay for these players to get that solidified third on your team. I'm holding Sky Moore. I think his value could rise. I'm holding Rashad Bateman. I think his value could rise. So yeah, really well done.
All those guys are want to hold. I mean, Zay Jones is probably the only guy that I'm okay to move on from.
Okay, let's go ahead and go on to the next team. Thank you, Brock, for submitting your team, man. Really appreciate you. Next team here is Proofys Foxtrot Dynasty League Sleeper ID. So this is in one of our follower leagues. Manage the league. We manage the league. Let me see you break down your opponents. All right, Proofy. Let's have a look here, and let's see what we can get. And by the way, guys, if you're curious, if you're just joining us, how do I get my team on here? Everyone who uses the code LAND, LAND, and signs up to the Mother Flocker tier over on flockfantasy.com, you get one team that we will break down for you. We're going to try and do this stream weekly now and go through them.
Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So.
Just looking at the team, trying to give advice, and maybe some moves that we might make. This is an interesting case because you and I are in this league that we're about to look at. Okay.
It is.
In fact, my team is Alave Another Big Mac.
I'm fifth here, so I'm okay with that.
You're Kenny and Ken.
Ken.
So, Proofy, the number one thing I would say is send Patrick Mahomes to team number 2 here for Mac Jones. Probably just straight up for Mac Jones. Pat Mahomes. And then I would say maybe you can give Garrett Wilson straight up for Terrace Marshall. That's all I would say that you should do. That's it. No. This is a great team when we look at it.
Yeah,
quarterbacks.
100%.
I'll let you start here. This is a fantastic team. What are you thinking here for Proofy?
Yeah,
we're obviously in this league. Keep in mind.
In this league, no, for sure. I mean, we can only go so far, but at the same time, you're paying for something. But look, Patrick Mahomes, quarterback's fine. Let's just move on from that. Patrick Mahomes, Daniel Jones, Jacoby Brissett, you're chilling there. Running backs, which is gonna make your team even better, especially you having the 101 as well with this team.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have Bijan Robinson with Tyler Algier, Brian Robinson.
Let me actually
James Cook.
Pull up this league here, and let me just look. So we can quickly go between his draft picks is what I'm trying to say. Where is he?
Yeah.
Where is he? Here he is. Okay. So we can look at all of his draft picks here. Okay. So yeah, he's got the 101, the 206, the 301, and the 401 this year. Quite a few 4th rounders, but yeah. So keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I mean, already getting Bijan off the bat, I mean, is phenomenal. So you're kind of chilling there, and play people I believe in James Cook and Brian Robinson. So whoever's going to be the RB2 for you, depending on. Well, I feel like Brian Robinson is safer than James Cook currently, and I have a higher belief in him. But James Cook, another guy I believe in right now, still. But we're going to see what that looks like with Damian Harris over there. But a lot of work in the air for James, I believe, is coming his way in 2023 in the running back room.
Yeah. What do we think about these wide receivers? I mean, it's a fantastic wide receiver room, but any ideas? I don't think there's any clear sell highs. Like, I want Garrett Wilson. If you have Garrett Wilson right now, you want him. You want to see what he's like with Aaron Rodgers. Jalen Waddle, I'm not selling him. DJ Moore. Maybe DJ Moore is the one that I'd be willing to move.
I'm happy to keep DJ Moore personally. I love the landing spot. I love that where he got traded to. I'm a big believer in Justin Fields. I mean, we both are, but I'm a believer in that trade. So Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson, phenomenal. And you also have George Pickens on the bench, Rashid Shaheed, a guy that you spoke about a little bit, KJ Osborne, a guy that I spoke about. And these are videos that are going to be coming out here very soon, so you're going to understand our thought process for some of those guys. But you also have the 206. The 206.
Thanks for the super chat, Flan. We'll get to that in 1 second. Go ahead.
Yeah. We've seen the 206 land some of these wide receivers if you want to continue, or in the running back room. Honestly, I would say building your running back room more with that 206. Is that the Sean Tucker's land there, the Izzy's land there, all those guys that could get a decent draft capital, 3rd, 4th rounder that can be the Brian Robinsons, could be the Tyler Algier for 2023 with that 206. So
whoever falls there.
Yeah, whoever falls there. I mean, this is a stacked team. I said, how did you do this?
This is exactly how I would build a team. Again, you know, wide receiver heavy, quarterback, wide receiver heavy, and then build around your running backs. And somehow you got the 101. I can't remember exactly how, because it definitely wasn't your team was that bad. I'm pretty sure you made a deal with 2 minutes, $2. But again,
$2.
It's a good team. My only suggestion is to send me Patrick Mahomes, and I'll send you a first-round pick. I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is a very, very good team, Proofy. Very good team. Bijan's going to make that running back room look real beefy. That 206 you could also use on a running back. And then, I think outside of that, like you're in a great spot. Look, this is interesting because a lot of people who are watching this are literally in our league, but I'm more than willing to move DJ Moore. It just depends on what offers you're going to get for DJ Moore. For example, can you get a Jerry Jeudy? I prefer Jerry Jeudy over DJ Moore. Can you get a... I'm just looking through each of these teams. Badake, on your own team, you don't have a wide receiver really that...
No, I don't have...
that would be of equal value, but...
No, I don't. But I mean, I'll give you Sky Moore so you can have the stack, my guy. I mean, Andy Reid just said Sky Moore is gonna have a big step. If you want him, I'll take DJ Moore off your hands, my guy. First round pick. You know what I mean.
DJ Moore, Jahan Dotson, you could look at in a deal. If there's any way that you can upgrade from DJ Moore to Jameson Williams, that's a deal I would love to make. But I know people in our leagues they know how we feel about Jameson. He won't go cheap. But anyway, dude, your team is looking very good. Very, very good. And I feel like you've already set yourself up for what your next steps will be, which includes drafting Bijan Robinson. Blind says, I believe I'm signed up for the Mother Flocker tier and in the Discord. Was wondering how I can get my team on here too. Oh, my bad. Signed up for the monthly Flocker, not the annual Mother Flocker. Yeah, so you have to be a Mother Flocker to have your team on this live stream. But if you're Mother Flocker and you've used our code LAND, LAND, then you will unlock a text channel in our Discord called Roster Submissions. Proofy, thank you so much for submitting your team, man. Let's go ahead and move on to this next team, which would be Cavalier.
The sleeper ID is there, but you have to.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, why don't you go ahead and give me...
I can read it out to you if you like.
Yeah, let's read it out.
All right, it's 9334 7924 6679 3308 16.
I feel like I'm an accountant or something. Thanks again for the donation, Blind. Appreciate you. Okay, so his let's look at, give me some names on his team so we can find his team.
I'll be honest with you, what I should have done was also input that number as I was reading it out to you.
Oh my god. Okay. So he's got Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers. Let me try and find his team here. Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers. Where are we at, Dak? Where are you at, Dak? Okay, it looks like this is our team here, team number 4. All right, so let's look at some context while Badake is entering the league ID. Again, Cavalier, thank you so much for the support, my man. 12-team Superflex PPR start 9, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs. So it's a 1 quarterback league, is what he's saying. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. No, sorry, it's Superflex.
It is Superflex.
1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex, and Superflex. Kind of like what our follower leagues look
our
like.
Leagues, exactly.
10 bench, 6 taxi, so it's very, very similar. His draft picks, he has the 101, 107, 111, 112. Sheesh. I mean, he's got some capital to load up here. I'm just going to take a photo of this so I can reference it. All right, let's have a look at this squad. So, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love.
Yeah, I mean, we're waiting for the trade to go down. If the trade goes down, Jordan Love is a starter.
Regardless, right now, you have 2.
You have really good.
You're about to have 3 starting quarterbacks, actually 4.
With Desmond there as well. I mean, Falcons spoke a lot about how they're going to invest in him. So I think this quarterback room is good. I mean, it could get better. It could be better.
Yeah.
You know, maybe after next year, there could be a lot of question marks if Jordan Love doesn't do good, and what the hell Aaron Rodgers is he going to retire after the 1 year? I mean, you might have to shake it up a little bit, but it's okay because you have all the 24 picks as well. It looks like all 24 and all
My
25 first rounds.
Yeah, I feel okay with this quarterback room. I don't feel incredible, but I feel okay with this quarterback room. Hopefully, Jordan Love or Desmond Ridder really establish themselves this year, and you can either sell them high or ride with them.
Yeah.
Just looking at the picks, though, you have the 107. This pick here is a 107. In this sort of format, I'm hoping that one of these quarterbacks fall. Probably not the top 3, but if Will Levis is available there at the 107, I think with the unknowns of this quarterback room and it being super flex, I'm probably going to take a shot on Will Levis there, assuming he gets top 10 draft capital.
Right.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Will is a guy that I believe in. You know, maybe some other people do, some other people don't. But if he lands in a good spot, the Colts, whatever that team, the Falcons may look like, it can be really good for Will there. So
yeah,
keep that in mind.
Well, hopefully for Desmond Ridder's sake, it's not the Falcons, but
It's
it
not
definitely could be.
If it is the Falcons, then you're okay. You got Desmond and Will, and then whenever you have the starter, whoever is starting that week, you start. You know,
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
so
Running back room. It is rough out here, my man. This is clearly the biggest weakness of this team. The good news is you have the 101 here, which is going to be Bijan Robinson. That's his own pick. It looks like his own pick ended up being the 101, which I don't understand with this team how that. I now looking at the running backs and wide receivers, I get it. But yeah, so you draft Bijan Robinson. You don't overthink it there.
You get Bijan Robinson there, and you know at times we can see Sharby fall to the 111, 112. If that is the case, that's good as well. But I mean, if it does fall into that scenario, and let's just say all those 4 quarterbacks are off the board before the 107, get Bijan, get Sharby. If the draft capital is there for Sharby and the landing spot is there, take him at the 107, and then you have Bijan, Zach Charbonnet, and your running back room, you know, is turned right upside down, or I guess right to the top, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
And it will look significantly better. Yeah.
So with this running back room, clearly not a starter on the roster. So yeah, draft Bijan Robinson. Don't overthink it. There's this theory going around right now that if your team is in a certain place, you shouldn't be drafting Bijan Robinson. And it's the same people who are telling you to draft the best player available. I just don't understand how those two things mash up right now, because right now Bijan Robinson is a first round pick in Dynasty startup drafts. He's the only rookie in this class right now that's a first round pick in Dynasty startup drafts. Take Bijan Robinson, okay? If you get this ridiculous offer for him after you draft him, yeah, you could consider it with how, you know, weak you are at running back and wide receiver. But it's an area of need for you. He is my RB1. He's Badake's RB1 before he even enters the league. Don't overthink it. Take Bijan Robinson there unless you get a ridiculous package, which we have seen. And then as we go to these wide receivers, Christian Watson, Treylon Burks, I want to hold both of those players. And just being 100% transparent, there's not really a clear sell here. No one whose value is at a point where it makes sense to move on. There's genuinely not a single player that you could sell high in that wide receiver room. But you have the 107, you have the 111, you have the 112, you have the 201. Badake, if Charbonnet isn't there at the 107, or you know, let's say Quentin is there, like these picks, I'm just going to be smashing either a wide receiver or a running back with these picks. Let's say Will Levis isn't there, for example, 107, 111, 112, 201. We're looking at guys like Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers. If Josh Downs gets the draft capital, you know, I'm just trying to really improve my running back and wide receiver room with these picks. The only exception being Will Levis if he's at the 107 and available.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going to go. With those picks, and if those guys don't get the draft capital and there's somebody there that they do like at the 111, the 112, a guy that I made a trade for recently, I would say a week or two ago now, Jahan Dotson. I traded the 112 for Jahan Dotson. Is that possible in your league? Probably not. right? But maybe it is. So
Yeah.
that, I mean, there's a couple guys that you can definitely trade that you can get on the low right now. That would be really good if some of those guys, like Zach said, the Downs, the Zays, all those guys that we hope and expect to get good draft capital, doesn't get draft capital, use those picks, maybe pivot to a more proven guy. Can you get a Jerry? Well, I doubt you can get Jerry Judy right now for the 112 or the 111, but maybe one of those guys along that.
It's a piece that you could start a conversation with again, because I feel like we have to be so clear about this. We have never ever said this is the exact trade that you can make happen right now, guaranteed. The idea is to give you ideas, to get your brain churning, so you can then go have conversations with other league members and start a conversation. Doesn't mean that this is going to happen, but start a conversation. Michael Pittman is an interesting name because
the new
quarterback will change. Will it be better or worse? I don't know. A month ago, you could have got that deal done. I remember making a video about it. But anyway, it's a starting point. A name that you mentioned was Jahan Dotson. Yeah, I don't think you can do it, but it's worth exploring. I think that's probably like the cutoff point with where this team is. I don't want to go out and trade the 111 for, let's say, like an Amari Cooper, given where the team is right now. Could you do Godwin? I bet you could discuss Chris Godwin with the 111. Just trying to think on oh yeah, I didn't have Superflex on. Just trying to think of like deals that you could get done. Godwin, you could potentially look at. Jahan Dotson, like you mentioned, you could potentially look at.
It just really
Ayuk is another name. Sorry.
Yeah,
that I think you should explore.
It really all depends on the guys that you want to build around and believe in.
Ayuk,
right?
Pickens, these are just some names to explore with those picks. Not to say that it's 100% going to work, but.
And I think what Zach said after that as well, you know, if those guys aren't there, if those guys are there and do get the draft capital from the 111 to the 206, you're just getting best player available with the best draft capital.
Running back, wide receiver, just smash it.
You just go there because you need to build in that area, because I think you're set in quarterback. Once again, you could improve, and then a place that we haven't spoke about is tight end. You have Mark Andrews. You're fine there as well.
And so, you also have an even more valuable tight end than Jake Ferguson, who will be tight end 2 next year.
Yeah, who I bought. Kidding. Did I bring that in? Did that video release already? I think I have. No, it hasn't.
No, it has not. But
I did bring Jake Ferguson in that video, so definitely keep that in mind as well.
But good team. I think the good thing is your weaknesses. You have clear pathways to improve those areas. I don't think I would. I wouldn't be sending those later picks for running backs, though, by the way. I would only probably be doing it for wide receivers that we mentioned.
Right. Like, are you talking about the 111, the 112? Yeah, agreed. I wouldn't want to send those for running backs. Agreed.
Okay, HantheMan. I'm going to copy your sleeper ID here, and then we will read the context as well for your squad. Okay, let's see. What's some of the players on this team? He's got
Trey Lance. Team 3, sorry.
Team 3. Oh, this is a much better team than I thought it would be. Let's look at the context here. 12 teams, start 10, half PPR, and it's a 0.5 tight end premium league. Orphan League I took over at the start of last year. Would love some help on this team. By the way, I have Philly Eagles 2023 second and 24 first. Most likely to be super early picks. Check out his team and you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to have to pull up on my phone his draft picks because right now it's very difficult to see with that screenshot. But why don't you go ahead and start the Superflex format. As we mentioned, so why don't you go ahead and tell us what you think about... Actually, he didn't say if it's Superflex, but the screenshots show Superflex, so...
The team also says on, I don't know if you see, but on Keep Trade Cut it says 12 teams, Superflex, 2 quarterbacks, start 10 on top.
Great.
Very top. Anyways, quarterbacks, I think right off the bat, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, very good with Trey Lance. If Trey Lance is the starter, we keep saying this, it's going to be a very, very good opportunity for Trey and your team, honestly. So I think in the quarterback room, you are set. So I think we can kind of set and forget that.
I agree.
For both of those guys.
And Trey Lance is just like this perfect, like, wild card sitting at quarterback 3, you know. Like
Yeah.
with that quarterback room, he's like the perfect one to just sit there and like let's just wait and see what happens with him.
Yeah, completely agree. Okay, running back room: Khalil Herbert, Jamal Williams, Foreman, White. So this is definitely one of your biggest weakness here. Not that much depth too. Is that 5 running backs, guys? I mean, Zeke's not even on a team right now. Zamir White, a backup.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the 107. You know, you couldn't get a Sharby at the 110. You could get a Sharby if he does if he does fall to one of those 2 spots. But I think you're gonna have to kind of go that route right there because you really need a running back. One thing I would say, you know, there's a lot of people that believe in Khalil Herbert. Maybe you are one of those people, in Khalil Herbert and what he's gonna do.
He's also got Deonta Foreman, by the way, so he's got that entire back room.
You have the backfield, but if they do draft another running back,
yeah,
that is just gonna absolutely demolish both of those guys. If they get a running back in the 2nd round, let's just say is Zach Evans, you're gonna be like, holy shit, like what am I doing? Or Sean Tucker, what do I do? And you may not have that player to kind of pick on or pick up, unfortunately. So that's going to be a tough one if that does happen.
Let me just throw out an idea there because I personally think that Herbert's trade market has probably died. We talked about, hey, as soon as Monty was signed to Detroit, sell Khalil Herbert because it's an all-time high. I agree in the sense that they could definitely bring in a running back. Where is that line for you where you're willing to sell? Because, again, keep trade cut. It's like this statement we always have to say, not perfect whatsoever. But, like, I was thinking 208, but it looks like you can potentially get even more. So, if someone sends you, geez, is this real? Like, I don't think this is accurate. Again, it's not perfect. 205. If I was to get the 205 for Khalil Herbert, I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't even care if they don't draft another running back because that 205 is a sweet spot for whoever is left over that was drafted in the 4th round or 5th round of this year's draft. If it's Kendre Miller, if it's Tajay Spears, if it's Rashawn Johnson, like one of these running backs that we like, I feel like you're already trading in, you're cashing in. Like with Herbert, you probably selected him in the late 3rd round or in the 4th round when he came out as a rookie. You're already kind of cashing in on that, unless you truly believe that he can become the workhorse for this team with Deonta Foreman already back there, and then potentially drafting someone. For me, the line was honestly, I was thinking like 208, but
yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that line. I mean, like what you said, according to community, you can get what 204,
205 right now, which is again not perfect. Okay. This is not a perfect science here. It's just to start a conversation, but
I would say. Sorry, continue, and then I'll go to my thought.
No, go ahead.
One thing I was thinking was moving him for a wide receiver, and one of those lower guys that still hasn't proven himself. These lower tier wide receivers. I mean, can you get
Bateman?
Can you get a Bateman? Can you get an Elijah Moore? Can you get a Sky Moore, a Kadarius Toney? Can you get any of those guys and pivot off? Because I am a true believer that Khalil Herbert is not going to be the starter for this team starting in 2023. And if I am wrong there, then I am sorry. But like that is the Bears running back room is a big necessity for this team. Also, just like every other position. But I just see them drafting another running back and bringing somebody in. And I believe in those wide receivers more. Like I said, a Sky Moore, a Kadarius Toney, and a lot. The one wide receiver I would say is Elijah Moore. Right.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at it right now, it is a fairly even trade.
I'd do that in a heartbeat. Yeah.
I would 100% do that in a heartbeat, especially with the landing spot going to the Browns. So
now you're making your worst area even worse, but I think it's important to keep in mind that I think you're just getting the better value in that deal.
Agreed. So that's something that I would do.
Just ideas, just names. I like those ideas. I like those names. Jamal Williams, I would also be willing to move.
What is the community viewing him as right now?
Currently, the running back 37. Okay, no. I thought he would
That's
be
so
higher
low
than that. Yeah.
How has he even risen recently?
No, I don't think
He
so.
hasn't. He's just stayed kind of there, and I think probably because everyone still processes that he's still behind Alvin Kamara.
I mean, there's no way that Jamal Williams and Rashad Penny should be right next to each other in rankings. Even though I like Penny, and I'm personally somebody who thinks he could have an incredible year. One has this 3-year contract.
People love Penny, bro. I actually don't know why. I
love Penny. I get it.
I don't get it.
Okay, so I was gonna say maybe you could potentially look at selling Jamal, but this is not reflective to why to what I thought he would be ranked at. But onto the wide receivers: Jerry Jeudy, Treylon Burks, George Pickens, Brandon Ayuk. I mean, you look at this receiver room and you're saying like, there's no real superstar here, but I think all of these players could be superstars. That's the thing. Like, it's a really good wide receiver room. You just don't have like that top 12 stud to kind of anchor your team. But at the same time, I think almost, and people might disagree, Jerry Jeudy, Treylon Burks, everyone, you could even put Deontay Johnson. He was top 12 a year ago. Like, all these guys could be top 12 up to Deontay Johnson. And these are all players that I would actively be buying, so I wouldn't suggest to sell. After my sell rant for Deontay Johnson all last offseason, I now think his value is at a point where you would want to buy him.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. You keep all these guys. Deontay, you can sell. I would also say Ayuk could be a good sell moment right now.
I want to buy him, but you want to sell him? What are you thinking then?
I'm just saying, like, the way everything he's going, how far he's rising, can you pivot in a different direction?
Wide receiver 27. He's not even a top 24 guy in Dynasty right now.
I mean, so many people are raving about him right now, but
I actually made a trade for him recently. I mentioned that you guys should pivot off of Brandon Ayuk.
So maybe
Deebo
Samuel. So maybe this is the calm before the rise, I guess you can say, right? Because if what you're projecting is right with Deebo, then Ayuk rises significantly higher in season, and then he can sell Brandon Ayuk at some point if he does hit the top 24, the top 20.
I love Ayuk for so many reasons. Like, firstly, he's proven it in multiple years now that he is a very good wide receiver, and he's gone through an up and a down, which is very rare for someone to be like, oh my God, rookie season, this guy looks like a superstar. Sophomore season, my, what the hell happened to this guy? He's awful. It's very rare for that next season for them to come back to that status of like, wow, this guy's a star. But not only that, he also is in this conversation to be traded. And as good as this offense is, I don't mind if he's traded. I'm actually okay with that. Like, if he gets traded to a team that needs a wide receiver, he's probably the number one option on that team from day one. So he's like the perfect hold for me, the perfect buy.
That's fair. I mean, I can definitely see it now that I'm looking at the way the community is viewing him. I thought he was higher.
The tight end room is fine for this format, but it is a tight end premium actually, so it's not necessarily ideal for this format that we're currently looking at. I would not say it's ideal. So you get 1.5 points for your tight ends. In this format, let's look at the picks that he has. He has 107, 110. My suggestion would be waiting on draft capital. If Michael Mayer is there at the 107, I'm open to it, assuming he gets drafted in the first round. Also, I would extend that list to Dalton Kincaid. If Dalton Kincaid gets drafted in the first round, that 107 or 110, I'm very open to looking at a Dalton Kincaid. Let's say Dalton Kincaid falls to the perfect spot. He lands with the Cincinnati Bengals in the first round. Don't overthink it. Probably going to be an important part of their offense moving forward. And in this format, tight ends are a little bit more valuable. But I think this is a team that is... It's strong in the important areas that you want to grow in. It's strong in quarterback. It's strong at wide receiver, even though there's not necessarily like a superstar. Like, in those two areas, that's where I want to be strongest typically in Dynasty as I grow and I fill out those other pieces. But
I would definitely agree there.
Yeah. Byronic says, I'm curious if I sub to the Mother Flocker tier today, it includes the premium content for everyone's Discord groups or just Dynastyland. Obviously, I would use your promo regardless. Just curious. So when you sign up with anyone's promo, you get everyone's rankings. You can look at our rankings back to back to back. You get everyone's articles, you get everyone's bonus content, bonus videos and live streams. But if you want, let's say like the Dynasty trade show you want to be a part of, if you want to have your team potentially graded on this video or this live
Fantasy
stream,
hotline.
if you want the fantasy hotline, those things you only unlock if you use our code. Okay, so you get everyone's basic content for free when you sign up to a code, but then with the Mother Flocker tier, you only get this from us if you use our code. So I hope that makes sense. Where is Haas? It's a good question. Where is Haas? HantheMan, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate your support, and hopefully some of those ideas really help. Next team that we have here is from Mitch17.
Mitch17.
And I'm gonna go ahead and pop his sleeper ID in here.
Oh, this might be another quick one here, brother.
What's his team name?
It's the first one.
Is it Mac 10?
Yeah.
I just want to double check.
Yeah, this is Deshaun Watson, Travis Etienne. Yeah, it's definitely the first team.
Okay, so the context is 12-team Superflex PPR, 0.25 points per carry. These leagues are very interesting. Made a few trades this offseason. Biggest trade was Pitts, Bateman, and Hollywood for Higgins and a 24 first. Pitts, Bateman, Hollywood, which I'm pretty sure we talked about that on the trade show, for a 24 first.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at the team. So yeah, I remember talking about that trade where he sent away Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, and he was asking some questions earlier in the in the fantasy hotline about the team and the trade. But look,
just so we know as well, sorry, he has the 105, the 112, the 309, and he has 4 first-round picks in 2024.
Yeah, exactly. So this is wild already for his team.
What do you really say with a team like this?
Yeah, this is a really good team, man. I mean, you have depth in the quarterback room with Trey and Desmond. If Deshaun, Daniel Jones, something happens, you have depth in the running back room. Oh, kind of. I mean, Travis Etienne, Ramondre, Monty now, Khalil Herbert.
I would definitely say depth. We just talked about a team who had Herbert as the running back 1.
Yeah,
he's your 4.
I guess it's significantly better. So yes, I would agree there. Wide receiver room. I mean, you got top guys: Olave, Higgins, Judy, Calvin, Keenan. Sterling could be a nice little sleeper if he stays healthy potentially. But
Achilles is gone, brother.
I mean, gone.
They have like 30 slot wide receivers as well.
Yeah, for sure. Tight end room with TJ Hawkinson as well, and Jake with big old Chig. I mean, what more do you want? And you have the 105 in the super flex. Are you gonna get JSN? Are you gonna get Gibbs? You know, like.
Can I offer some ideas here? Specifically with Ramondre Stevenson. I've been very open about moving Ramondre Stevenson, and I know some people disagree, and that's completely okay. I'm only giving advice as if it was my team. I prefer Zach Charbonnet, assuming he gets, let's say he gets drafted in the first, let's say the first 70 picks, 75 picks, right? I prefer Zach Charbonnet. Does that mean you can trade the 106 for Ramondre? I don't know if you can do that, but just throwing out like an idea there. The 106 is apparently worth a lot more. But we see Charbonnet typically around the 108, right? Yeah, 108 to the 109, 110.
108, around there, yeah, I would agree. So
I wouldn't be opposed to making a move like this. I know people disagree with me with Ramondre Stevenson. I'm only giving advice that if I had Ramondre, these are the kind of moves that I'm probably trying to make. If I can pivot to Najee Harris, I can't believe Najee is RB12 and Ramondre is 14. I'm doing that personally. If I can pivot to Nick Chubb, yep, I'm doing that. You talking about how Nick Chubb is old? Ramondre Stevenson is 25 years old already. Like, we shouldn't be talking about age in that context. I'd be pivoting to Nick Chubb. I think a team is much more set to build around him than Ramondre. And then there's names that I would be willing to pivot to if I can upgrade. Like Miles Sanders, I would be willing to explore a deal where I send Ramondre out and get Miles Sanders back. Who has Miles Sanders in his league?
Let's see if I can find it.
Team
6.
Team 6. Miles Sanders is RB1. So he would maybe be looking at solidifying his running back room. Could I feel like that's actually a deal that you could explore. Ramondre Stevenson for Miles Sanders. And then can we upgrade somewhere? Can I get I'm just looking at his options here. Drake London, Calvin Ridley. I'm just trying to see like where we can tier up at a different spot, if that makes sense. Like, can I send... Is it at all possible? Again, just ideas. None of these are perfect. I just want to keep saying that. Is it possible for you to do something like this? Okay, Ramondre Stevenson, T. Higgins for Miles Sanders. Why does it say Amon-Ra?
He doesn't have T. Higgins anymore.
I believe he traded for T. Higgins.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, it doesn't reflect on the team. Oh, yes, he does.
It does.
Sorry,
it does.
I was tripping for a second. Okay, yeah.
Is this at all within the realms of possibility of exploring? I think you can explore the idea. If it's shut down, okay, it was shut down. That's okay. I tried. Another idea, how about Jerry Jeudy? As much as I love Jerry Jeudy, if there's a possibility for me to upgrade to, let's say, a Drake London, I would be willing to explore that idea. Again, just ideas for you to explore. There's no perfect trade. But even we don't know exactly what draft capital this team has, who has Miles Sanders, but where is that first round pick? You know, can I do a pick swap?
Right.
Explore options to go from Ramondre Stevenson to Miles Sanders plus. What does that plus look like? Start a conversation. Does that plus mean that you upgrade at quarterback, right? Do you somehow find a way to sneak your way into Lamar Jackson with Daniel Jones? Do you find a way to sneak yourself into Drake London or Christian Watson or Jahan Dotson, maybe with a Calvin Ridley? Do you find your way of sneaking into a pick swap? So, you know, just trying to find little ways where I can get ahead of the curve. But outside of that, this team is stacked. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great team. Really good inputs there. So I will say continue doing what you're doing and continue to build on where you're going. You know, I mean, 105 and what was it, the 110 you also have?
Yeah, and I'll just say as well,
why don't you trade away the 112? What about that? I mean, sorry, let me just
I just feel like I would take BPA. Unless you have a specific idea.
I'm just trying to think of the running back you can get at the 112 that's probably already solidified. Like, what's that range right now? And it might be a little bit difficult because I think that range is like the Swift, the JK area at that moment. What is Miles worth the 112 or Miles worth more? So apparently the 112 is worth more than Miles Sanders, according to the community.
I would definitely, I would send the 112 away from Miles Sanders.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but if you want a running back, I'm happy with Miles' 4-year contract, Carolina. I mean, this is a really great deal, in my opinion.
And you don't really need to upgrade your running back room. I'm just bringing up Ramondre because it's a pivot option. Your running back room is strong already. Yeah. But also with Ramondre Stevenson here, you can see, apparently, according to the community, which it makes sense, Ramondre Stevenson was very good last year. He's worth more than Zach Charbonnet. Does your league in their rookie drafts, do they do slow drafts, or do you have a trade window like we have? Can you at some point offer that deal while you're drafting? So very good team, just some ideas that we would throw out there, but I mean, you can't mess this team up, I don't think.
No, you can't.
Really well done.
Who is next here?
We got SXP92 next.
Here we go. Does he have a sleeper ID?
No, he's on My Football League, and I just wonder if he can send us his My Football League ID.
XP, yeah, because I saw that you just messaged on hotline. So maybe if you're live, he says listening live tonight.
I'm gonna just go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back, and maybe he can send us his MFL ID. Okay.
Yeah, send us your ID if you can find. I'm not necessarily sure exactly where that's at currently, but have a look. Maybe somebody in the chat can help you out. I don't have a sleeper ID, but let me try and pull this up as we wait for Zach. Where are you at though? Okay, here we go. Where are you at? Okay, so just for context, I guess as we're waiting, your team is 12 team super flex, 4-point passing touchdowns, 1 point per reception for wide receivers, half a point per reception for running backs, and a half-point tight end premium. Start 9. You have the 101, the 204, 205, 206, 211. Um, 211, 301, and 401. Okay. Never really used that. Okay, he's typing right now, so let's see what SXP I'm looking for in the apps. Not very friendly. All goods, brother. All goods. Let us know.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just work with what we got here. But yeah, anyone who's watching who is waiting for their team to be graded, just know if we do have an ID, it's just going to be easier for us to look at other teams and where you kind of stand with your team. But let's go ahead and let's have a look at this next team from SXP. 12 team super flex, 4-point passing touchdowns. First thing I would advise is I'm rioting for 6-point passing touchdowns. I am rioting in my league chat. That's just something that Badake and I think makes sense. I mean, it's every touchdown's worth 6 points. Quarterback's touchdown should be worth 6 points. 1 PPR wide receiver. It's half PPR for running backs. 1.5 for tight ends. Very interesting. 23 picks. 1-1, the 2-4, the 2-5, the 2-6, the 2-11, the 3-1, and the 4-1. All of his picks in 24 and 25. Purposely punted this year after startup. Made some trades. Sold assets and molded my team best of my ability so that I could land Bijan and actually warrant him. So my question is, am I ready for Bijan? Okay, so it looks like we have a lot of quarterbacks. I wonder how deep these benches are. Did he mention that? No, just start 9. There's a lot of quarterbacks I probably wouldn't have rostered.
Yeah,
Trevor Siemian.
Yeah, goodbye. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Have a great day.
Have a good day.
Probably I would say the same with Teddy Bridgewater. He's
not on the team.
If I need space, I'm not saying you have to make these moves, but Carson Wentz is not a starter in the NFL. We know that.
Goodbye.
Again, if you need the space, because we don't need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks on our team, even in a super flex format. Which I think
completely agree. Yeah. I mean, obviously you're keeping Jimmy, you're keeping Lamar, you're keeping Kyle Trask, and you're also keeping Deshaun Watson. You said 28. What's 28 mean? You should have a start 28?
Yeah.
No way. Is that what he's saying?
Sorry?
That's not possible. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Yeah, those quarterbacks you drop there. Okay.
Yeah. And I would just throw out an idea. We have the 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6. Our quarterbacks that we want to build around here is Jimmy, Lamar, Deshaun. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what we could get for Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm just going to throw out an idea. 3-year deal, but we've talked about that 3-year deal. It looks much more like a 1-year deal than it does a 3-year.
Exactly.
When you look at that contract, they have an out literally after this year. So can I somehow get Aaron Rodgers? Because according to the community, they're back-to-back in rankings. Can I take a chance on Mac Jones? According to the community, there's only 2 spots difference in their ranking. Can I figure out a way to get a Russell Wilson or a Geno Smith? Can I sell Jimmy G and get like a Matthew Stafford plus picks? Just a couple ideas that I would throw out right now. It's limited. You don't have to make this move, but I just wanted to throw out those ideas.
I would definitely agree. I think you take the risk there with Jimmy. You either take the risk on selling him for what you can get him for, or you take the risk in believing that his value is going to be higher in the middle of the season, where you can sell him then. I'm leaning more towards getting what you can get right now, because if they do draft an Anthony Richardson, a Will Levis, we could potentially see Jimmy taking you know, only starting half the season. I could be wrong there,
Yeah,
but
I get it.
definitely
It's one
there's
of
two
those
different
risk
ways you
reward
can
moves
go.
because if they don't draft a quarterback, you're looking pretty with Jamie there.
Yeah,
If they
you're
do,
buzzing.
you're like, oh, my value, it's shot. It's
It's
completely gone.
So you just gotta.
And he mentioned that this team is rebuilding, so I'm not opposed to making a move like that now.
Okay.
Running backs. AJ Dillon, Khalil Herbert. Really your main two. I would give the same advice that I gave previous teams on Khalil Herbert. As far as where could we pivot to Khalil Herbert? Or from Khalil Herbert, rather, my bad. Like right now, it's crazy, but Joe Mixon and Khalil Herbert are ranked very similarly according to the community. Cam Akers is apparently more valuable or less valuable than Khalil Herbert. I would take Cam Akers. I would take the shot on him based off what he looked like end of season. Brian Robinson is less valuable than Khalil Herbert. Give me Brian Robinson. So just throwing out some ideas there. And then we talked about where his line is in a Superflex league, 205 to 208. In that territory, we'd be willing to take a shot. Just cashing in on this value that's already gained value that is unlikely to ever be top 12 at the position.
Yeah, agreed there. And then you also gonna get Bijan, which is gonna help the team here.
Can I just say one last idea with Khalil? Sorry, because it's just coming to mind right now.
Yeah,
is it at all possible to try and get David Montgomery on this team? The trade I'm looking at is trying to utilize some of these second rounders to move Herbert. So can I attach, let's say, the 2-6? Could I potentially attach the 206 with Herbert to get Monty? I think that's a real easy deal for people to say yes to. If they're getting Khalil Herbert, you might not even have to include the 2-6. You could probably start with the 211. Badake, would you do that? Khalil Herbert and the 211 for David Montgomery. That's an overpay, but would you do it?
It's hard because I'm a big believer in Swifty still. So It's not that I don't want. It's not that I don't believe in Monty. It's just that I won't be surprised if it's I mean, I guess we're projecting 50. I am happy to do that, but I think it's a bit risky. That's what I would say.
Okay, so you and I maybe view Monty differently then, because I would say Montgomery is just as valuable as Miles Sanders. Would you do that deal for Miles Sanders?
Yes, I would do that deal for Miles Sanders.
So two options for you: Miles Sanders, David Montgomery for Khalil Herbert, and the 211. Just throw out those ideas. That's a starting point, and see what happens in your leagues.
Agreed.
And then if you have Miles or Monty plus Bijan, it looks a little bit better in that running back room. And then you take the 2-4, the 2-5, the 2-6, whatever's left, and again, you just pick up those running backs that are available in the mid rounds, whoever those end up being. If it's Kendre, if it's Zach Evans, Sean Tucker, Tajay, etc.
Agreed there. I like those moves.
Wide receiver room's nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I was just looking at it. I mean, the ones that DK, Calvin, Devonta Smith, Garrett Wilson, those are your starters there, and you have two wide receivers and two flex there. So you're starting DK, you're starting Calvin, and you have Devonta Smith and Garrett Wilson. I think that's fine. I don't think you move from anyone, but you can pivot. I think it's time to drop Will Fuller. If he didn't play all last season, then I don't see him playing this year personally.
He's a tough one, man. I still have him in some leagues.
Do you? The way I see it is like if he get picked up all last year with all the help that teams needed, then
I just don't think he was healthy. But
what's going on?
At this point, it's very unlikely.
Yeah, I think it's cool to keep hold of Laviska Shenault. You never know, might have a revitalization there with whatever quarterback, but just okay to hold. So you're holding KJ, you're holding Laviska, you're holding Slayton.
Yeah. And I think it depends on draft capital, but if you don't make some certain moves, that the 211 and the 3-1 might be a really good shot at like an Xavier Hutchinson. If Parker Washington or Keishon Butte are there and they get good draft capital, some of these names that we like, maybe a Cedric Tillman, you could look at with those picks. But it's again, draft capital is going to be so important with some of these moves.
Yeah, I would agree there. So I'm really happy with the wide receiver. You set and forget those guys, and like Zach said, you kind of build in your depth with those younger ones.
Yeah.
Tight
end is it a tight end premium league? Yeah, 1.5
premium, and you have David Njoku, which I'm really happy for. I'm happy for you to have David Njoku, which is good. Shout out to Foster Moreau. I mean, do you keep him or do you drop him now?
You keep him.
Know,
it feels icky to drop him. You know,
it does feel icky.
It feels like you're not supporting him.
Yeah, I mean we're supporting him, but
yeah,
you know, I guess if you have a little soft spot for
I'd much rather drop Trevor Siemian and
oh, absolutely.
Trevor Siemian and Teddy.
Absolutely.
So we're happy with this tight end room. I would make a suggestion to say that David Njoku is going to be good, but with the addition of Elijah Moore, it leads us to believe that his targets could be in question, just from the sense of like, will he ever be this person who's getting like 115 targets? I don't think so. Thanks for the super chat, Marvin. We'll get to that 1 second after we finish this team. My advice was going to be at the 2-4, 2-5, 2-6. While this is a great spot for running backs, in a tight end premium, it's also a great spot for a Dalton Kincaid, a Sam Laporta, a Darnell Washington, Luke Musgrave.
Yep.
If, depending on what the draft capital is, I would also be open to using those picks. Honestly, these 2-4, 2-5, 2-6 picks, I really like these for what your needs are. I like filling your, obviously you go best player available, but at that point, I assume those would be the best players available for helping your running back in your tight end room. I really like those picks there. But yeah, it's a good team, man. I think his biggest question is, am I ready for Bijan? Draft the best player available.
Yeah.
Draft the best player available, and that would be Bijan Robinson, yes.
No one's ready for Bijan. Bijan's ready for you.
But think about this starting lineup, right? Okay, so one quarterback, two running backs. Let's put this together for a second. It's Lamar Jackson, okay? So the starting lineup is Lamar Jackson. It'll be Bijan Robinson, maybe Miles Sanders or David Montgomery. If not, you can choose between A.J. Dillon and Khalil Herbert. Your wide receivers that you're starting is Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith. Your tight end is David Njoku, or maybe one of these rookies that come in and play a role. Your flex spot is DK Metcalf, Calvin Ridley. And then your super flex is Deshaun Watson. This is a good team. You're definitely ready. You're ready to compete. No doubt. Yeah. You're ready to compete.
I think you definitely have some good guys, some good foundational pieces, and you can continue to build, man. You have a lot of picks in the second, which is, don't sleep on the second round.
Especially with the areas of need for his team. It's a very good second round for running backs, tight ends. So, I hope that helps. I think we gave a lot of ideas, and I hope some of them you can at least start conversations with and see what happens from there. But let's answer Marvin's questions before we get into the next team. Marvin's question was, I guess that's 10 teams, start 9, T-Law 203, and a second for Chase and Devonta Smith. 10 teams, start 9. Is it Superflex, Marvin? I think that's the biggest question there. I'm assuming it is.
If it's Superflex, I'm keeping T-Law.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty even value at that point. Like Chase and Devonta Smith. If you look at it purely from a startup draft, there is more value with the wide receivers because Chase and T-Law are only going a couple picks apart, but Devonta Smith is way more valuable than the 203 in a second. So I would say it's even value, honestly. But
he says it is super flex.
Yeah,
I'd rather have T-Law, but I get like what Zach said, Chase and Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
Only a couple picks apart.
It's an overpay for T-Law, but you have to overpay to get him. So it depends on your team needs there, because the value is pretty good on both sides. So yeah, I would say it depends on team needs, but it's not an uneven trade, I don't think. Okay, next team that we are looking at here, Badake.
I think it's Road. I don't know how to say it. Rob.
And
he has a sleeper ID, but I need to input it. Yeah.
Okay, can you read that out for me then?
Not actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type it out.
Okay, you're going to type it out first?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay, just while he's doing that, let's read the context together. Been watching your stuff for a while and love your content. League settings are in screenshot. We just did the startup draft with kickers last month, and a rookie draft is end of May. Playing with highly competitive guys, so trades can be challenging, and there's not much underlying youth or overvaluing aging players. Two main advice points I want your thoughts on. Number one, how would you identify my team? I think I have a top 6 roster to compete right away, but I do prefer the productive struggle strategy to bolster up for future years. I've done that in my other leagues, so I want to try something different. Number 2, what do you think my 2023 draft strategy should be? I believe tight ends will be faded, and the first one may not go until the 202 based on this league's attitude towards tight ends, even with the premium. I've got Andrews, though, so it's not a big need. What would you do with my picks, considering no one wants my package trades to upgrade a tier at a position? Okay, we'll keep that in mind as we go through. I see you just sent me his league ID. Dude, his league ID is at the bottom, by the way.
GG's. Didn't even see it.
Yeah, his league ID is at the bottom. Also, it is in the picture.
I didn't even see it, genuinely.
I'm just gonna take a picture of these picks so we can refer to them afterwards. That's hilarious. Okay, again, 12 team.
3, 5, 7. What's that?
12 team Dynasty Superflex tight end premium. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex, a super flex. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
only 2 taxi spots. For this format, I'm surprised only 2 taxi spots. 4-point passing touchdowns as well. Okay.
Okay.
So, remind me, he has Deshaun Watson, right?
Yeah,
so
he's Team 3, New York Street 33. New York Street 33, my guy.
Okay, so looking at the team as a whole, it's pretty good. I would say
it's not terrible.
Quarterback 2 is your biggest question mark here. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, Khalil Herbert, that's a very solid running back room. I'm very happy with that running back room personally. Then you look at your wide receivers. We expect Drake to take the next step this year. You have some vets who are proven in Debo. You have George Pickens, who we think could take the next step. So those 3 are good. But there's guys like Mechie who we think will improve their value. Wandale, I know you're a Wandale guy. Palmer could improve his value. Honestly, I think OBJ is... I have been thinking about this for a while. He is undervalued right now in Dynasty as wide receiver 83. I think he's undervalued. So just hold on to him. And then in a tight end premium to have Mark Andrews and Hayden Hurst. I think you've done really well there. So let's try and really answer his 2 questions. Number 1, how do you identify my team? So let's look at his team versus some of the other teams in this league.
Well, according to Keep Trade Cut, you do have a top 6.
Top 3 is what they would say.
Roster to compete currently right now. So, I mean...
And just looking at the first team here, Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Jimmy G, Eckler, Chubb, Mixon. Honestly, dude, I would not put your team... Like, I prefer your team over this team in your format. Is what I prefer your team over this team in your format, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you see what you're sharing. You're only sharing...
My bad.
Yeah, just so we're on the same page. He can kind of see
this is the number 1 ranked team in your league. Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Jimmy G, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, Amon-Ra, DJ, DeAndre Hopkins, Bateman, Trey McBride, Juwan Johnson, Zach Ertz. I don't think this team is better than yours. Like if I'm putting these 2 teams back to back and you're saying which team do you want to start? Which team do you want?
I would say, because it actually shows differently. Keep in mind, if you go to players only, he's 6 with players only.
Okay.
So we're looking at picks and players. So just look at the difference there. Because
sorry, what do you?
I guess I'm saying with his draft capital, Keep Trade Cut is valuing his draft capital more than some of those other teams.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But
well,
anyways,
I'm just looking at the entire league as a whole with the picks that he has to make moves before the season starts.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah. In this format, I feel like Mark Andrews... I don't know. I feel like Lamar Jackson's going to be back in Baltimore.
For sure. I mean, I don't see where he's gonna go. I feel like he's not gonna get paid again. He's probably gonna play on this tag, and it's gonna be a whole nother year of Lamar this, Lamar that. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but I think you hold on to Mark and you believe in Lamar coming back.
Let's answer his first question. Can you compete with this team? Yes, I think you can. The area that concerns me the most would be quarterback 2. And our first pick is the 110. So I'm wondering what moves you could get to get a vet quarterback in there at quarterback 2. And the name that comes to mind instantly for me would be Matthew Stafford. It's not sexy whatsoever, but I just think his value is at a point where it makes sense for this team. I think you can compete year one. And it's not going to cost you very much at all right now to get a Matthew Stafford. But of course, your team, you said your league it's difficult to trade. Let me see what picks you have right now.
Here's a 110, 202,
305,
110.
110.
I think this is a perfect opportunity as we're talking about quarterbacks. And the guy that I always say to buy low is
Russell Wilson.
Right? What is that going to look like? And
Russell Wilson's a good name, actually.
That window is usually from the 112 to like the 203, and you have the 202 and the 203 actually. So can you send one of those picks for Russell Wilson?
Let's see what that team looks like who has Russell Wilson though. Let's see if that's realistic. If based on what their team looks like.
I'm trying to find where Russell Wilson's at.
Okay, he's with the team at the very bottom. So, but this is
Russell
clearly
Wilson.
a win now team. So he's not moving Russell Wilson. We have to be realistic about that. This guy's not moving Russell Wilson.
What about? What if we go to?
Another name that I had in mind for him was Geno Smith.
Yeah, I'm looking at all those guys. I'm looking at the Goffs, the Genos, the Cars, the Cousins.
So Team 4 has Geno Smith, but I would say the rest of their team is much like outside of tight end. It's kind of future focused with Fields, CD. I guess it's kind of a hybrid, but I wonder what you could send to get Geno. Again, just an idea. We don't want to give too many trade ideas because you said your league is not very. They're kind of stubborn with trades, but I just wanted to send a couple ideas out there. Geno, I think could make sense. You're gonna know your league mates better than us, but names, I don't think you would agree. Russell Wilson is probably not attainable given that team.
Yeah, agreed.
But names that we would suggest to go look at. You said Jared Goff. I agree. I would add Jordan Love to that list. I would add Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford. He's the cheapest of those options. Just because I think that if we add one of those quarterbacks to this quarterback room, we have less pressure of Trey Lance performing.
Well, that's exactly where I was going to go. I was like, what if he acquires Brock Purdy and he doesn't have to sweat about who's going to be the starter there?
That's actually a great idea. Who has Purdy?
The Purdy is the team at 12 who's competing right now. So he has Lamar and Russ.
Okay, what could we offer him? I mean, he doesn't really have any clear needs, to be honest.
Nah, but we can give him some. He doesn't have any capital in 2023, so does he want
a second rounder?
Does he want a second and just do a throw? Let me just double check what that capital is.
So let's just say that's a mid 2024 second. You might have to swindle a little bit here. Start a conversation with the Brock Purdy owner. The unfortunate thing, it sounds like your league might be the type that's like going to hold you captive because you have Trey Lance. This is really a move we should have got done in the startup. Just being 100% transparent. But I agree, explore it.
I'm just trying to think, like it is tough. What about? Yeah, no, it is tough. I would say either target Brock or Aaron Rodgers, because you have Zach Wilson. And if Aaron Rodgers is not there, surely they
Aaron
continue
Rodgers
with
will
Zach,
be there, though. We agree,
surely
right?
they continue with Zach Wilson.
Okay, so who has Aaron Rodgers?
Who has Aaron Rodgers? The dude at the end as well.
Is it?
No, team 11.
Team 11, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers. So I think most people would agree at this point Jordan Love's going to be the starter. He has, at this point, 4 starting quarterbacks. You could actually look at acquiring Aaron Rodgers here. I wonder if you could send Khalil Herbert.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a trade that you could get done?
For Rodgers?
We have to be realistic about that. I don't know. Just start a conversation, though. Start a conversation there.
Jimmy. Yeah, that's tough. I think those are the guys. Yeah. I say you start a conversation with the following players in the following teams, or just the following players, whoever owns these following players. I would say Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers. I would say
Jimmy G too. I would put Jimmy G there. Yeah.
Brock Purdy as well, if you want to do that Trey Lance stuff, and Stafford. That's what I would say.
And discount City Ryan Tannehill. This is break glass. Nothing's worked out. You just want a starter at.
You just need another guy in the room. Okay. I would. You know what I would argue?
Okay.
And this is even further down. What if Sam Howell's really shit? And I really don't hope that for your team. But Jacoby Brissett.
That's not a bad idea.
Because he did really well last year. And if Sam is not really the guy, and they do a thing where they sit him in the second half for the second half of the season just to see how Jacoby does.
What's Jacoby worth right now?
Not sexy.
He's like a fourth round pick. Yeah, you have the 305. Don't pay
those late.
Don't pay the 305 for Jacoby, but
yeah.
I wonder how much Ryan Tannehill currently costs. Is he worth 305?
Mr. 305.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting to me there. Anyway, those are some ideas. And to answer his first question, yes, I'm happy to compete with this team.
Yeah.
Right now. His second question was, what do you think my draft strategy should be? He's talking about how he thinks tight ends will be faded. So we would always say this, regardless of your team, but draft best player available. Looking at his draft picks, he has the 110, the 202, the 203, and the 305. So if you really think that Michael Mayer could fall to the 202, I would be super happy to draft him there. Yeah, again, if Mayer or Kincaid get first round capital and you can get either of those guys at the 202 or 203 in your format, I would be willing to do it, because there's a realistic shot that one of those guys could be a top 5 tight end in fantasy, and with your premium, that could be a flex option. That could be trade negotiations with Mark Andrews, with one of those guys. So I feel like that 202, 203, I would be willing to absolutely draft Kincaid or Mayer. What do you want to do with the 110, given his team? If Levis is there, it feels like a no-brainer, but probably won't be there.
I would just say go best player available. I mean, do you get Sharby? I would say if Sharby's there, I'm taking Sharby over.
I'm still going Quentin if he's there. I'm still going Addison if he's there.
I just don't see Quentin going there personally. But yeah, I mean, I would go those guys. I would go the wide receivers, Jordan Addison and Quentin, and then Sharby if he's there at the 110.
Yeah. Of course, draft capital is going to be important in these talks.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I would approach it with your draft. And then the 305, again, best player available. Take the player that you want that, is kind of like your guy, if you will. But this is a good team. And I think if you're able to secure that quarterback too, I'm willing to kind of like go for it this year for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
I hope that helps. Thanks for the submission, man. Okay, right. JaySlim is the next team here.
Okay, well, it looks like we got another number 1. Stroud coming soon. 112 team, Superflex, start 10.
Is this his team?
Half PPR, yeah, tight end premium, 5 IR spots, 20 bench, 30 taxi.
What?
I'm assuming that's a typo. Maybe it was just 3 taxi.
What? 30 taxi?
That is just like, that's just everyone. That means you have no waiver wire.
For real.
So how's it going, fellas? Of your show in the context that y'all provide. I'm currently a rebuild team and would like some advice what I should do with my current situation. I think I have a decent squad outside of running backs, but not quite sure on who I should draft with my picks, as well as if I should trade away any players / picks. I have the 23, 101 through the 105, 111 and 112, 202, 424 first, etc., etc. Your advice would be greatly appreciated. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Firstly, thank you. And
thank you so much.
If you guys want us to look at your teams, but I can quickly explain how they can as I reread this context.
Easy, guys. So, Flock, if you kind of see on the screen right there, go to land for 30% off. Scan that QR code and sign up. That is the best way to go on the mother Flocker tier. Not only do you get your grade, your team graded, but you can unlock the fancy hotline, our rankings, and all the other rankings for all the other users. So once again, it won't be graded today, but we'll definitely do our grades next week, which we're starting to do. Looks like it's going no, it's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays for you guys. So
I just read his team. Like, dude, you are great. You are set up beautifully. When I read that when I looked at the draft capital, I was like, holy hell. He has the 101, the 102, the 103, the 104, the 105.
Yeah, so that's, and you have Daniel Jones and Jared Goff already, okay? And this is a super flex league. So it's clearly that he's drafting a quarterback. He said Stroud is coming soon.
We can make this a championship team today, right now. Ready? The 101, you go Bijan Robinson. Clearly your weakest need, and clearly with the wide receiver room that you have and the tight end room that you have, you're ready to compete. Is it a tight end premium? It is.
It is tight end premium.
And you got Goddard. Great. Beautiful. Great option. He's like one of those mid options with like Kittle, Pat.
Bro, he has Goddard,
I'm super happy with.
Greg, Evan Ingram.
He's got Evan. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. You're drafting Bijan Robinson at the 101. Jay, this team is so fun, Jay. This team is, you're going to dominate this league for a long time. A long time. You're drafting Bijan Robinson at the 101. Okay. At the 102, you're going to grab probably CJ Stroud. At the 103, you're grabbing Bijan, Bryce Young. And oh my God, we have so much flexibility here. Okay.
That's the thing, is Daniel Jones and Jared Goff. So
I'm gonna suggest that we could potentially trade back from one of these picks, 102 or 103. Let's talk about what we would want to acquire for the 102 and 103. Given his team, I'm thinking elite wide receiver, elite running back, either or. Are you on the same page with me?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
So let's just say it's the 102, because honestly, you like give me who falls to 103. He might feel differently. But what's some names? I mean, we could probably get an AJ Brown. No, that's probably too much. You could probably get a Garrett Wilson, or at least start the conversation. No, you couldn't.
How
about Olave?
Why don't we try to do CD there? I know we've always been saying do CD.
I don't think you can get CD if you can't even get Garrett Wilson. Here's what I would suggest. Olave's where it starts. Names that I would include. I'm just gonna double check my rankings here. And keeping in mind, yeah, he already has CD. Keeping in mind that that some of these names you could get more in return for the 102. Honestly, do you disagree with me? The 102 is worth more than Chris Olave. Am I
The
tripping?
10
Like, this is where
There's
I
a
don't
lot-
feel like this trade calculator makes sense. Like, the 102 is worth more than AJ Brown or equal to AJ Brown. That's what I would say personally.
And this is why I think we should do go the opposite way. I think what we should do is keep Jared Goff, trade away Daniel Jones for like the 107, 106 or something like that, or 108.
I would rather get a solidified player if I'm moving one of those guys.
Sure,
All the capital that I
we can
have.
do that, and then so it's either the picks from the 106 to the 108 in that window that you don't have already, and then, or you can go for the players. So like, what type of wide receivers can you get for DJ right now?
Well, let's go running back here. Could you get a McCaffrey type running back? No, not for Daniel Jones. Our community overvalues Daniel Jones, I think.
So according to the community, Daniel Jones is worth the 107. Right. I think you can probably get a Jameson. I think you can get a Watson. I think you can get a Pittman, a Judy. I think that's a little bit too low now. I think it's the opposite way.
He has Michael Pittman.
I would say a Drake London, a Devonta Smith, a DK, a T. I think that's where I'll stop. T and down. So T Higgins, DK, Drake London, Devonta Smith all feel really. A Tyreek Hill I'm okay with. For Daniel Jones, if you really want to.
I'm just gonna push back a little bit on moving Daniel Jones. Can I tell you why?
Sure.
We're not accounting for the rookie season with these quarterbacks. We're talking about them being very good options in Dynasty, but Trevor Lawrence was not a good option year one. And I would say with the assets that this team has, we can try and win year one. So I would be more open to keeping Daniel Jones and keeping Jared Goff and then moving these picks instead.
I just think like,
because I don't want to rely on a rookie quarterback to try and win a championship year one when Daniel Jones has just gotten Darren Waller. They just gave him the contract.
And they're going to get JSN as well, so it just makes sense.
Maybe. Okay, let's try and make this more clear. 101 Bijan Robinson.
Yes.
Okay.
Done.
102 or 103, I want to move. The names that I believe, based off of what we've seen in trades, that you could move. I'm just going to name players. CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Ken Walker. All those players, Badake, every time we go and do a startup draft, those players are going after these quarterbacks. So I don't see why that value isn't reflected right now. Of course, it's not a perfect mock draft, but we always see Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, they're going ahead of AJ Brown, ahead of CMC, ahead of Garrett Wilson, ahead of Ken Walker, ahead of Etienne, Olave. So we see that consistently. So I'm going to suggest that either with the 102 or the 103, we are trying to get an elite wide receiver or an elite running back. Is that AJ Brown? He already has CeeDee Lamb. Is that AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Ken Walker, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave? Those are the names that I am looking at to get guaranteed talent. And the good thing is, with the amount of picks that we have, we can make all those deals work. So that's what I would say. 102 or 103.
I would agree there.
You move one of those picks, or you move one of them.
The 103. I think it's going to be the 103 because he wants Stroud, right? Yeah. So you don't trade the 102 and be like, okay, you're going to get Bryce. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens.
I'm happy with Bryce, but if you want Stroud, then you can keep the 102 to make it happen.
Because the team name is Stroud coming soon.
I get that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I would be happy with Bryce, but if he does want CJ, then I understand.
Yeah. So the way I'm seeing it, it's going to be Bijan, CJ, and then whoever you want at the 104 and the 105, which surely that is a JSN Gibbs, right? So now you have Bijan, Gibbs, JSN.
You don't want to let Anthony Richardson fall to the 106 in your league. I think you need to take advantage and get value for these picks.
Sure. I mean, either way, whichever way he wants to do that, And I think surely people are already contacting him saying, you know, this is what I want, right? And let's look at the teams. We have the teams, like we have all the teams here. So team 2 is not looking for a quarterback to trade up. He has Lamar, Dak Prescott. Team 3, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts.
Team 5 is probably where we're starting here.
Okay, so
they have Jonathan Taylor. Perfect.
Perfect. There you go.
That's our 102, 103 offer.
Exactly. So you can continue. I mean, we can even go down, you know, like what other team has team
Wilding out.
5 wilding out. They have Christian McCaffrey, that's all running. They have a Jamar Chase and a Monra.
Perfect. Another option.
They can go there, you know. Team 10.
Kyler, Jimmy G, Jameis. Yeah. I don't really think.
I don't know the running backs, the wide receivers, though. Yeah.
I mean, what did Geno got that dog do in his draft? That's what I don't like. What do we do here? How do we get this bad? But yeah. I agree. That's a good way of looking at it. All I'm saying is Anthony Richardson is in almost every league going to be going in the top 4, top 5. So be very open to also moving. Let's say the 104 Badake can get you like, let's look at one of these teams. Okay. The 104, can I get a Christian McCaffrey and give me a Monra, and I'll give you back Brandon Ayuk and the 104, and you grab Anthony Richardson. Again, just an idea, throwing that out. Okay. So all I'm saying is you want to take advantage of this Anthony Richardson hype, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I like it.
And worst case scenario, you draft the best player available. So that means that maybe you take Anthony Richardson at the 104 and at the 105. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can then afterwards make deals.
That's tough.
Right now, there's no doubt in my mind that 99% of the community is going to value Anthony Richardson higher than Jahmyr Gibbs. So I'm not going to draft Jahmyr Gibbs just because I need running back. I'll draft Anthony Richardson and then trade for need.
Sure. And I think that's definitely a way you can go about it. I think it's fun. I think it's good. I think it's a cool one.
Yeah. You've got so much room for you've got so much room.
We haven't even hit on the 111 to 112. We go best player available there as well. I mean,
you can load up on running backs there as well.
Yeah, so I mean,
your team's great. There's no clear obvious sell except for like Madison, because I think some people are too high on Madison right now. What could we get for Alexander Madison?
I think what we need to do is start selling some of these tight ends. That's what I would do. There are 1, 2, 3 tight ends you could potentially sell if you're okay with Dallas Goedert.
Be willing to sell Alexander Madison for a late second, like a 208 onwards, 208 to the 210, 211.
I'm happy with that.
So tight ends, who would you want to sell here then?
I think there will be 2. I think you keep Dallas and you keep Greg because of his youth, and then you sell Evan Ingram, Cole Kmet.
So who needs a tight end then?
Whoever else that you want to do. I think tight end team 3 needs a tight end.
But are they win now?
Kane Dynasty. I mean,
they are.
Yeah. I mean, you can give him an Evan Ingram. What can you get for an Evan Ingram in a tight end premium? What's Evan worth? And he's on the contract. I mean, the tag. So currently to the community, he's worth 206. So maybe you can get an early second. What, 202, 201?
Or you can maybe use Ingram to upgrade your running back room here. This guy has AJ Dillon, Cam Akers, Damian Harris. AJ Dillon, Cam Akers, Damian Harris. I feel like Damian Harris is the name I would explore there. I think Evan Ingram is worth more straight up, but if you can add more to your side of Damian Harris, I'd be willing to look at that. In a tight end premium, you should be able to get much more.
Yeah, agreed. And then you also have Team 6 walling out. I think can also use a tight end. They have Mike Gesicki, Jonnu Smith. You can get maybe one of these wide receivers if you want. Maybe you throw in a little bit more.
Deontay Johnson for Evan Ingram.
Exactly. Can you get Deontay for something like that? I think that's really nice. That's really fun. Running backs on that team, I don't think you can get anyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
You've got a great team, man. Very good team. A lot of flexibility, and I feel like that was a jumbled mess, but hopefully you got the point of like, really what you have to do is just start having conversations. Lock in 101, lock in 102, the 103 and the 104 you should be shopping. And if you can't shop them for the names that we already mentioned, draft the best player available, and eventually you'll be able to make trades. The 111, 112, best player available again. So that's probably a Zay Flowers. If Addison somehow falls, Zach Charbonnet, another running back who's gotten good draft capital, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, great team.
Agreed.
Okay, who's the next player or next person that we're helping out here?
Next? Here we go. Coach said Jay kind of.
Coach just gave some advice there.
JoeBobs, I think maybe.
So JoeBobs is the next one, and I'm not even sure how we're going to be able to show this team because it's an Excel document. I'm gonna have to open up Excel here. Maybe I can share Excel with you guys. Let's see.
Joe Big Ol' Bob, he does have a team ID, so give me a sec.
Oh, he has a team ID?
Yeah, he has a team ID.
I see it
on there, so which is awesome.
Okay, perfect. I see it.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys who are having your teams looked at today have the 101. I feel like so many people have the 101. Okay. Who's on his team? Let me remind myself. He's got Baker Mayfield as his quarterback one, so that won't be hard to find. He's team 3.
Team 3. Joey Torres. Okay.
So
he has the 101, 102, 103, 110.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
101, 102, 103, 110, 201, 207, 211, 309. He has 3 firsts and 24, 2 and 25. So don't think that we're going to be competing year 1. But we can easily get some foundational pieces with the 101, 102, and 103. Yeah,
we'll do the 103. So let's start off with quarterbacks here. Obviously, Baker Mayfield, Gardner Minshew, Corral, PJ Walker. None of these guys, at least we believe, could be fantasy relevant. Maybe Baker and Minshew, if somehow they don't draft the quarterback, but I highly doubt it. So then you draft CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and there you have your 2 young quarterbacks. You kind of set and forget. And then you also draft Bijan Robinson for your running back room. So those are your pillar guys, your 2 quarterbacks and your running back.
I will say,
running back 1.
This is one of those scenarios where I'm not completely opposed to selling Bijan for a ridiculous package. Mm-hmm. Okay, you definitely draft Bijan. No one who with the 101 should not be drafting Bijan in our opinion. But that doesn't mean that you have to hold him with this team. Because I think this team, if your quarterbacks hit, you're probably competing year 1, but that's asking a lot out of rookie quarterbacks to both hit. Right. So we have seen some insane deals for Bijan Robinson. I mean, if you can get 3 first-round picks and players who are proven, right? Like those kind of deals, I'm not completely opposed to making those kind of moves. But on the other hand, if you don't force it. Like if no one is going to give you those deals, take Bijan Robinson. Like don't overthink it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
Okay. So we agree.
I don't know if we actually read the context, by the way.
Okay.
Just to keep that clear. So this is an orphan team I picked up last year. I successfully tanked for Bijan and picked up a lot of picks in the process. I plan to take Bijan, Young, and Stroud with the first 3 picks, and then best available running back with most of the rest of my picks. It's a 12-team Superflex, half PPR, start 9, and then he gives what the context is. Okay, so
well, first off, Joe, this is a really fun team.
Yeah.
That you orphaned. This is like the ideal orphan. But yeah, so we're giving him advice, and he's already like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do with the first 2 picks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then that's probably exactly where we were going to 10. You go probably back or best player available with that 110 pick, whether that's Charbonnet, Quentin, Addison, whoever that is, whatever draft capital that is, you get there. Because if you get a Bijan and Zach Charbonnet falls you at the 110, you got both of your quarterbacks and both of your starting running backs for the future.
Yeah.
Which you're buzzing because that wide receiver room is stacked.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
And I think
it's very good.
I mean, you turn this team around to tank, and then you're competing already in year one.
Yeah.
With this team, which is so exciting. So,
and the good thing is the future firsts that you have are not only from your team. Actually, yes. He doesn't have his first in 2024.
He does. From 2024 from Joey.
Oh, yes, he does. My bad.
Yeah, so, and then Chris, and then Murray, let's ride.
Badake's right. That's exactly how I would approach it. Charbonnet at the 110 if he's available, or one of these wide receivers. At the 201, that feels like a prime RB spot. Evans, Tucker, Kendre, Tajay, Rashawn, whoever gets the good capital. Same at the 207. I would say at the 207 and the 211, I'm not opposed to drafting a tight end. But I think your room is solid. It's just there's no superstar yet.
Yeah, I mean, Greg, the guy we soon.
Sorry, you're cutting out there. Say again.
I said Greg Dolce is the guy we'd like. I mean, Jake Ferguson, the guy we talk about here very soon. Daniel Bellinger now with Waller. So let's see what happens with some of those guys. But yeah, I'm really not opposed to drafting a tight end.
Yeah, I would agree. This is a very, very fun team. And keep in mind that you have 3 firsts in 24 still and 2 in 25. This is like ideal for a rebuilder.
It is.
So what our team is probably going to look like, Badake. Let's just say what our team is probably going to look like here. At quarterback, we're probably going to have Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Baker Mayfield. Right? At running back, we're probably going to have Bijan Robinson, Zach Charbonnet, or Kendre Miller, or one of those running backs, and maybe another one with the 201.
In the second round.
A.J. Dillon, Joshua Kelly, so on and so forth. Our wide receiver room is set. We can just add BPA if it happens in the draft. And then our tight end room is good enough at this point. Maybe Dulcich turns into a superstar. If not, we can draft the tight end. So I think you're on the right track there. I really, really like the direction of this team. It's very clear what you're trying to accomplish, and you have all of the necessary assets to accomplish that.
Completely agree. I mean, great team. Continue doing what you're doing, and you just gotta rock the draft now.
So, how do you get a team reviewed? If you want a team reviewed, we put a pinned comment, guys. Want your team graded? Sign up to the Mother Flocker tier at flockfantasy.com/land. Each person who signs up to the Mother Flocker tier using our code LAND, LAND, gets one team review. And that's what we're doing right now. They also unlock the entire Discord where you can see roster submissions. Okay, Joe, thank you so much, man. I love that you took over that team, and I'm very excited for you moving forward.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, Gunner, I got his sleeper league ID, and maybe you can start reading out the context for us.
Yeah, I will. I'm just trying to find his team. Okay, Gunner. Hey guys, love the show, content. Thanks for taking time to check out my roster. No worries, man. I won my league last year. However, I've moved off some pieces since then. In the draft, since the 10-team league values prospects that I like and have been falling to me in my mocks. And with my picks, I would like to draft 1 or 2 tight ends, 2 to 3 running backs, 1 to 2 wide receivers, and maybe Hooker if he falls. I have a lot of guys that are just taking up my roster spots that will be cut post draft. So it's a non-tight end premium, 2 quarterbacks, super flex, full PPR. He says, P.S. I thought about moving 1 more piece for a value quarterback, but besides Jones and Knox, I feel good about my team again this year.
Yeah, he and this is 2 quarterback, like you said. This is not super flex.
Yeah, he says last thing, the power rankings has me super low because they take total value of your team and have a lot of expendable parts on my bench. Okay, let me see where his team is at. Justin, what's his team? With Justin Fields, right?
Yeah, he's got Mac Jones as well.
Justin Fields, so his team is team 9.
Wow.
Justin Fields, Mac Jones.
I think his team is better than team 9, but yeah, here we are.
Yeah, let me look at this draft capital. So
yeah, he has, check that out too.
He doesn't have any firsts this year, but he has a bunch. He has 2 seconds and a bunch of thirds. So he has a 208, 209, 301, 302, 305, 307, and 310. all in 2023.
Badake, I'll just say, like, from the very get-go, with your team, you're already talking about making roster cuts. Ideally, actually, the taxi squad is huge, so you don't have to do this, but ideally, I want to combine some of these picks and move up. I would give every pick that I have there to move up into the first round. It's probably not going to happen, but I would do that. You know what I mean? That 208 to the 310. There's 6 picks there. I would give all of those to move up into the first round. If that's not possible, can we package like the 208 in like a bunch of these third rounders to get up to, you know, a top 3 pick in the second round? Again, you explore the ideas, but I want to take shots on some of these quality guys in the draft. Not your taxi squad is deep enough, so you can add a bunch of these rookies there and see what gold you can find. By the way, how is Devin Duvernay on your taxi? What's the rules of your taxi squad? That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean.
Anyway, that would be one of the first things I would say, Badake, is to kind of try and package these picks for a higher picks. Yeah, just the first thought before we start.
I don't mind doing that. I guess you just gotta. Just depends on what everyone is going to suggest. By the way, this is a 2 quarterback league, not a super flex league. Just keep that in mind.
Yes.
2 quarterback, not super flex. So he has 2 starting quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 3 flex spots.
And as difficult as it is, to get a good super flex quarterback, it's even more difficult in 2 quarterback.
In a 2 quarterback, exactly.
So you're in a tough spot in the sense that you really need Mac Jones to work out. You need a Mac Jones revival. Even more so that you don't have a first round pick until 2025.
Yeah.
So you really need Mac Jones to be the answer for you at quarterback too. Do you think it's at all possible in a 2 quarterback league that we can add a quality second starter without using some of these main pieces? I don't think you can use this draft capital.
I think it's tough. I mean, unless you look at these guys, Stafford, you take a shot on a Ryan Tannehill. You can take a shot on Jordan Love.
I want to see.
I think that's a bit tough though, but I don't know. It will be difficult in my mind to try and trade for another quarterback in depth that is not going to cost a lot.
So I'm just going to throw out an idea, and I don't think it's going to work, but I am so happy to move A.J. Brown in this league for an elite quarterback. I'm just looking at Superflex rankings, so 2 quarterbacks will be more expensive. But at the moment, A.J. Brown, according to the community, is only 2 picks off of Lamar and Justin Fields, which he already has Fields, but Lamar Jackson is the name I'm focusing on there. Maybe Justin Herbert, maybe even getting a CJ Stroud, getting a Bryce Young. So the reason I'm saying those names is I would be exploring moving A.J. Brown, maybe have to add some of these later picks, maybe have to add all of them, I don't know, to get a more solidified quarterback too. Can you get a Herbert? Can you get a Lamar? Only with your league, you will know that answer. But if you can't, can you get more? Like Deshaun Watson actually sounds really interesting to me. I think you can get more than just Deshaun Watson if you move A.J. Brown, even in a 2 quarterback league.
Yeah, I guess the first quarterback that comes to mind will be Kyler Murray. A guy that's injured, and you can probably get him alone. You have the depth to kind of. You already have Colt McCoy, by the way.
The only issue there, by the way, is that the team who has Kyler Murray already has Devonta Smith. It's unlikely that they would want A.J. Brown. It's unlikely that they would want both. But I'm just going to look for the team that has Deshaun Watson.
Tough to move these wide receivers, by the way, because it's 2 wide receivers start and then 3 flex start.
So you can start 5 wide receivers. I mean, that sounds easy to me to move them.
I'm saying it's hard to move them because those are
you
your
want to
guys.
Keep them. Okay.
I want to keep those wide receivers to be my solidified starts. If anything,
I don't disagree with you, but I would much rather figure out another wide receiver than try and bet that Mac Jones is going to be my answer at quarterback too.
yeah, and yeah, I would agree, and I liked his idea though. In the second round.
Hendon Hooker in the second round, you cut out there. Is that what you said?
If he falls, yeah, because that was one of his thought process, and we saw that in a mock draft. But if the Colts don't go quarterback in the top 4, and then they get Hendon Hooker in the second, obviously Hooker probably doesn't fall all the way to the middle of the second, but maybe you can package those seconds and go to like the 201, right, and then get Hooker.
I think you can do that. But I don't, again, I think we're still in that area where like, is that even the answer? I want to actually fix that problem without a doubt in my mind. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Instead of like taking a shot, I feel like Lamar Jackson's unrealistic because that guy has Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Jameson Williams, DJ Moore. Like his wide receiver room is stacked. But the guy who has Deshaun Watson, he also has Daniel Jones and Russell Wilson. There's some flexibility here. So could you, and his best receivers Amon-Ra, outside of that, there's not a lot of youth except for Jerry Jeudy. I really think you could look at a deal like that where you send AJ Brown to Mike Tyson himself. Wow, try and get Deshaun Watson. Try and get that deal done because he has enough quarterbacks to make this deal make sense for both of you.
Right.
And honestly, I would send AJ Brown straight up and get Deshaun Watson back in this format. I don't need more back, but I'm saying you might be able to. But I like that move. I think that move makes a lot of sense. I think that's our biggest issue with this team is we don't have the resources to really figure that issue out. So we're going to have to pay up. And I think Kyler Murray, you mentioned, is a good idea, but the issue is that the guy has Devonta Smith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you alternatively send... could you send like a Tyreek Hill or a Stephon Diggs for a Tua on from team number 10? I would do that.
Okay.
So these are just a couple ideas that I would throw out there because I think we need to solidify that quarterback too. I'm all aboard getting Hendon Hooker, but I think we're in the same spot if we draft Hendon Hooker.
No, that's fair. I think I just view it a little bit differently. I think I will those wide receivers and then rotate that QB2 with Mac Jones. And he may not be amazing, but at least you have Bailey Zappi. Can you sell the Cole Kmet guy too? Well, he probably doesn't want him, but and I don't know. I would just think it.
Sorry,
not Cole Kmet. Colt McCoy.
You're not gonna sell Colt McCoy.
Yeah, you're not gonna sell him. But that's what I would do. I think I value the wide receiver a little more than the quarterbacks. Because it's not that I'm off Mac Jones. It's not that I believe in Mac Jones. It's just that, I'm okay with whatever the 10 to 12 points that he's going to get me because I know what A.J. Brown, I know what Garrett Wilson, I know what Tyreek Hill is going to be doing. Is that the long-term answer? Probably not because you don't have a first-round pick until 2025. So it's going to be a bit tough. But I think you stay put in the wide receiver room and then you see where you can move. I think what Zach is saying is true though, because the only value that you do have is in the wide receiver room, so you might have to do that regardless.
Okay. Let me ask you this: what percentage chance do you think Mac Jones is going to be a top 12 quarterback for the next decade?
On that, not high.
What percentage chance do you think, given the draft capital that he currently has, that we can address quarterback to?
I think he definitely can if Hendon Hooker gets the spot.
So do you think Hendon Hooker has a better chance of being the answer than Mac Jones?
It's hard to answer that question because it all depends on the draft capital and the landing spot, right? Like, once again, I know that's probably this is the best case scenario, but if Hendon Hooker goes to the Colts in the second and they don't draft the quarterback, I feel like that's a really good landing spot for him to grow and be the guy.
Okay, but the Colts are going to draft a quarterback at 4.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That was the best case scenario. I wouldn't like if he goes to the Vikings in the second, if he goes to the Titans in the second, if he goes to any of those teams, I think you could definitely take the chance, and I think that's why he wants to do that. So that's why I was really happy with when he was like, you know, I'll take the chance with Hendon Hooker.
I just still think we're pipe dreaming to try and fix this issue.
Sure.
And I think that your wide receivers are deep enough that you can make this move. Either for Deshaun or for Tua or whatever the case may be. Because there's just like, I just think we have to be super realistic with the assets that he has. You agree, Mac Jones is probably not the answer. I would advocate that I feel Mac Jones is a better quarterback in fantasy than Hendon Hooker. He was drafted in the first round. I don't think Hendon Hooker is going to be the answer either. So I just feel like in a 2 quarterback format, the quarterback is even more valuable. I don't know. I just personally think that you need to address it in some fashion.
That's fair. No, I definitely get what you're saying. So, it just got to see what he wants to do.
Yeah,
it's tough. I think the wide receiver. It's crazy that he's 9th in this team, especially the 10.
I think it just shows how important
thing.
quarterbacks are in this format.
Yeah, 208. So 208 is like. I'm just thinking because I just remember it's 10-man league. So those second round picks are not as sexy as you think.
Well, they're better actually.
Actually better, yeah, they're actually better.
Yeah,
for the 208.
Well, I'm all on board with if you can't package these picks to take best player available, like you said, tight end, running back, wide receiver. I think that makes sense. Let's find out what the draft capital is. To me, when I look at this team, your biggest issue, and I think it's quite clear, is your quarterback too. And that's what I would be looking at addressing this offseason if possible. Also, I would say outside of that, tight end is a huge need. It's a 10-team league, so I don't think it should be that difficult to upgrade.
No. And that's another area that you can potentially address in the draft.
Who has a bunch of tight ends?
209. You know,
like this team number 1 has like 3 tight ends. Try and get Trey McBride off him. I feel like someone is stashing tight ends in this league. Anyway, I definitely think you smash tight ends with those late seconds to try and find an answer at the position.
Agreed.
My biggest thing would be to fix quarterback too. Do you have any other ideas that you would suggest?
No, I kind of like his thought process. I think you kind of get the best player available in the draft, and then you see where you can get. Maybe someone out there likes Mac Jones. See what you can get from Mac Jones, right?
Yeah.
I mean, where can you move up and, like Zach said, package those seconds, get into the first, and get the Will Levis, right? I mean, take a chance on one of those guys. So
yeah,
I think that's about it.
Yeah. So whatever direction you want to take it, you take it in that direction. I think we've given 2 different ideas, and just however you want to address it, you have flexibility there. So this is the last team that we'll be covering for today. Just so you guys know, if you are wanting your team reviewed, we're going to start doing these streams weekly on a Sunday night. All right. Use our promo code LAND when signing up. To flockfantasy.com. I'll put the link in the chat again. And when you use the code LAND when you sign up and you buy a Mother Flocker membership, you're going to be able to eventually access this text channel that says roster submissions. You see this one here on the left? It says roster submissions. It's highlighted. When you join, if you have joined and you have signed up on the stream, what's going to happen is when you join our Discord, in this join here tab, you'll see at the top right below this comment section, it says setup. There's a join here tab. That's where you're going to put your username and make sure you tell them that you use code LAND. You will then unlock roster submissions, hotline, dynasty trades. You'll unlock all of these, and you'll be able to submit your team for next week's stream. And we'll go through everyone's teams next week's. But the last team that we are going to look at is Tizzs. So a big shout out to Tizzs. Do you want to read the context while I bring up this squad for us?
Yeah, for sure. It says, hey guys, thanks for taking a look. No worries. 1 quarterback, 12 teams, half PPR, start 9, 3 wide receivers, 2 flex, no tight end premium. Been rebuilding, ready to compete with Bijan. Where should I go with all my picks? He says, I just traded for David Montgomery, gave up the 208 and Hunter
I
Renfro.
love that Tiz.
And his team is the good egg. So once again, 1 quarterback, start 9. Okay, well,
by the way, congratulations on that David Montgomery deal. That's what I've been trying to encourage everyone to do. That's a great deal for you. In a 1 quarterback, that is like a no. That's a definition of a no-brainer. Well done. So he wants to compete this year. 1 quarterback.
Yeah.
No doubt those quarterbacks are good enough to compete. You're not going to get much value in moving them, so you might as well find out what happens with Trey Lance, I would say.
By the way, draft picks. It says 104, 106. Sorry.
101
it's
as
all,
well,
jumbled.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, so 101, 104, 106, 208, 206, 201 as well.
So weird.
209, 301.
So I'll try and do this in order because it is so weird how the screenshot looks. It's strange. 101. Yeah, I think this happens when someone is there's an open spot in your league. 101, 104, 106, 201, 206, 208, 209, 301, 309. So we're on the same page. No brainer. Draft Bijan. Okay, that instantly is going to give you 2 starting running backs that I think you can rely on, and your format is
1 quarterback.
It doesn't say how many running backs you have to start, but maybe I assume it's 2.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's 2 as well.
Then you have Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, Marquise Brown, Kadarius Toney, John Mechie. I want to improve tight end here, bro. I want to go all in on tight end. In a 1 quarterback format, I'm thinking 104, 106. How do you feel about that? Are you going to rock with this tight end room? Or would you rather... It's probably it's probably a smarter idea to use your 2nd round picks to improve there, now that I'm thinking about this.
Yeah, probably, but I think it depends on who's there, right? So
I more mean like as a trade, but you could draft as well. But I mean as a trade.
Well, I'm happy to trade, but I think it just depends on who that tight end is. But I'm also happy just to get a tight end here in a dynasty startup.
There's an idea.
in the rookie draft.
There's an idea in a 1 quarterback format. Pat Freiermuth for the 201. That makes me feel better about this team.
I'm just trying to see where...
You could also put... so Pat Freiermuth is there. Some other names. Who has Pat Freiermuth in this league?
Pat the Dragon. Pat the Dragon. I'm trying to find it. I can't find him.
Okay, that's not going to work because that guy only has Hunter Henry behind him. Okay, alternative idea.
Morning Chubb has Kyle Pitts and George Kittle.
That's what I was going to say. Or team 3. I would say team threat level Midnight or Morning Chubb could be ideal trade partners. For let's talk about Dulcich specifically with team 3. What will we have to send to get Dulcich? Because I don't think it would even take the 201. It would probably take one of those mid-round picks. I would offer him the 206. Let's see if we can get Dulcich for the 206.
I'm happy to get one of those tight ends. One of these tight ends, because I think I believe in these.
Can you clarify what you mean by one of those tight ends?
Yeah, and I think that I believe in the tight ends, the Michael Mayers, the Dalton Kincaids, the Sam Laportas, the Luke Musgrave in their draft capital, especially how weak it is in the wide receiver room, that these guys are going to land up on a team that needs these guys. Right?
I would just say
it's tough now to kind of envision that.
I'm on board with liking those tight ends, but the reality that they are someone that's going to help you win a championship year 1 is quite low.
For sure.
I don't think that those guys are going to be the answer for what we need right here trying to win right now.
I think
we just know the history of the tight end position. It is unlikely not that it won't happen, but it's unlikely that those names are going to be top 12. And you want at minimum, really, if you're trying to win a championship, you want top 5 to 6 to 7.
Sure. Where's Evan Ingram in this thing?
Evan Ingram, I thought, but the guy doesn't have much tight ends behind Evan Ingram. George Kittle feels like the
only one that you can go, because everyone's pretty weak at.
Yeah.
Everyone's pretty weak at tight end, oddly enough. You either have a guy ups.
I'm gonna try and get George Kittle here for I would package, honestly, I would package the 201, the 206, and I would even give him the 301 to get that deal done.
Okay, so let's start from the top. 101, you have Bijan. Okay, 104, you have, this is one quarterback, so it's Bijan, Jason, Gibbs, and then Bijan, Jason, Gibbs, or Quentin, depending on. So you get a Quentin
or a Gibbs at 104.
Or Gibbs at the 104. 106, that's Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison, Zach Charbonnet, around that area. Right. I think that's probably, I would also say Zay Flowers.
Yeah. Depending on draft capital.
Depending on draft capital.
Yeah, I agree there. Bijan, okay. hopefully Gibbs, hopefully if not Gibbs, then Johnston at the 106. Hopefully Addison. If not Addison, then I would say Charbonnet. You could put in there Zay Flowers, Addison. Those names.
Yeah.
This would be my idea to try and improve tight end is Kittle for the. I'll send the 201, the 206, the 301. Might be a slight overpay, but I feel much better about him than rocking with this tight end room.
Yeah, I definitely hear you. I guess I'm on the opposite. Like, I'm happy to move to get George Kittle. Not opposite. I'm on the same train, but I also like the other option of really believing in these tight ends and just having a Trey McBride finishing as a top 15.
That's not going to win you a championship.
No, but having Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, and all these other positions are going to help you win as well.
Yeah. So we are competing against Vontae, who has Justin Herbert, Javonte Williams, Rashad White, Tyler Algier, Waddle, Amon-Ra, Jahan Dotson, T.J. Hawkinson, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 first-round picks.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying. We're competing against that team in the playoffs with T.J. Hawkinson.
Sure.
We're competing with this team who has Travis Kelce, Breece Hall, A.J. Dillon, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, 2 first-round picks. I just do not personally believe that McBride is, or one of these rookie tight ends. I'm all aboard drafting them. I don't think they're the answer for you right now if you're trying to win, though.
Right. Just trying. Yeah, that's not much.
And I really think Morning Chubb is your ideal person to trade with.
I just think if he's not trading for Kittle, like if Morning Chubb doesn't want to move George Kittle, then.
Well, maybe he wants to move one of them. Maybe you have to pay a premium to go get Kyle Pitts. I'm willing to do that with this team that we have. Can we send? I just want to see what the value is here. If that deal is actually possible, I'm doing that in a heartbeat. If you can actually send the 104 for Kyle Pitts, that's a no-brainer in my mind.
But once again, like, you see, and then this is where I rebuttal. Like, we believe in Kyle Pitts to compete as a guy for the future, but like he hasn't done anything to say that he is going to help me get to the championship.
I mean,
to beat out
as a rookie, he had 1,000 yards, one of the best rookie seasons ever. He was injured in year 2.
Sure, but I mean, I would argue that like I will feel more confident in getting George Kittle trying to compete.
Okay. I mean, opposite side of that, is George Kittle better yet? Maybe, but we don't know who the quarterback is. There's a lot of weapons there.
Same thing with Kyle Pitts. A lot of weapons there as well with Drake London and whoever they're going to get in the running back.
With Drake London and who?
That's what I'm saying. Like we expect this team to get either a better quarterback, more running back in there, another wide receiver. Like that team needs a lot.
Well, I would disagree. I would go for Kyle Pitts on 104. This is a no-brainer to me, but what ideas do you have then to
I'm not saying that
the tight end spot?
Well, I said my ideas. I'm okay to rock with Trey McBride and get those tight ends
Okay.
in the draft. But it's not an anti Kyle Pitts thing. I know we believe in Kyle Pitts a lot, but it's just tough to think that he's gonna help me compete next year. That's
Okay.
what I would say. I'd rather get George Kittle than Kyle Pitts if I'm really trying to win. But Kyle Pitts is the answer for the future.
Okay.
So that's what I would say is the difference.
Yeah, I think we just forget how good he was as a rookie, and I think his second year is a little bit too fresh, I think, in people's minds. But
Sure.
I just personally, again, I don't think that one of these rookie tight ends are going to be the answer for you in year one. And we're talking about, Kyle Pitts into year 3, new quarterback. I would argue that there's no competition outside of London, which is more than ideal, but I don't know. I just don't think that a rookie tight end is going to be the answer.
Yeah, and I guess I just don't think Kyle Pitts is the answer for this year. That's what I would say.
So outside of Kyle Pitts and George Kittle, then, do you have any other ideas?
I'm happy to get you can get David Njoku or Dalton Schultz if you want. If you like the landing spot, you can send one of those guys. For team 3, I know there's concern with David Njoku and Elijah Moore, but that's okay. Dalton Schultz is a 1-year prove-it deal with no other weapons around until somebody else comes in if they do draft somebody. So I can definitely see him playing in the middle of the field. I guess that those are the players that I would go for, and then draft those rookie tight ends.
Yeah. All right. Well, 2 different sets of ideas. Whatever you think is best for your team, you can look at doing. But outside of that, I think you're in a pretty good spot. Yeah, he says solid advice, guys. I'll definitely send offers for Pitts or Kittle. Much love. Appreciate you. Thanks for listening. And whatever path you want to go for that path. 2 different ideas there. Follow your judgment. Ghassan, so how do you get your team reviewed? That is through flockfantasy.com. So if you go to flockfantasy.com/land, then you'll see this sign up. Okay. You sign up with our code LAND. You choose the Mother Flocker tier. And once you do that, you join the Discord. And you let them know in the Join Here text channel that you have signed up with our code. Give them your username. And then you will be able to unlock the roster submissions text channel. And you'll be able to put your team in there, including any context. But I'm pretty sure that was the last team for today.
Yeah, that was. And we're going to be live again next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. So make sure, if you do what Zach said, make sure you sign up, use promo code LAND, Mother Flocker tier. And then once you get through all those steps, all you have to do is submit your team on the roster submissions, and we'll be doing as many teams as possible on next Sunday. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
So definitely go check that out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. That is it for today, guys. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out. We were live for
a long time.
Yes.
11 to 12. It was like 3 hours, nearly 3 hours, 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. We will be live tomorrow for mock drafts.
Yeah.
So we'll see you then.